well, it means everything. Now, Claim 1 means everything. It reads on all the old prior art.
But it does, Doug, mean a hard drive, a CD,
Let me suggest something else. Let me suggest that what we're really saying, whether it's over a network or off a hard drive, is that the unique nature of our process results in high-quality images at low file size. And so that whether that low file size...
It's big file size.
Well, it's not file size. He's right.
It could be a huge file.
It could be a huge file.
But hold on. Isn't it true that it is a low file size, given the amount of information that you're able to draw from it?
No, it's a large file size. It's the opposite. You gave it more data. The file size is not relevant, nor is the bandwidth. That is a must understand. This idea is cool, whether it's played off your hard drive, played off a CD, played off a tape backup, whatever you want to call it, over a network. Whether you FedEx it, Doug, is the same effect as if you send it over the internet. And that effect is the same as if it's a 2400 baud modem receiving it or a super high speed, as if the only difference between FedEx and the Pony Express is 3 days wait, but you still are going to have the same package.
Right, but what you want to do in your claims, is make sure that you're not
limited.
Make sure that you haven't stated your claim so broadly that what over here excludes your ability to claim over here. So you parse the claims, one very broadly, and then you keep narrowing it down so that if something happens over here, you've got it.
Okay.
You've got the network delivers it to you.
And if you're saying that limited bandwidth isn't in Claim 1, then we don't care.
Right.
But I just wonder why it needs to be here other than to describe what we did. Which you don't, by the way, need a network to describe what we did.
So we can strike network. We don't have to.
Well, I want to see the...
Well, we're not striking it. We can strike it from the claims when we get there, but I got to leave it in as your preferred embodiment. That's
right. We're on page 1.
Why? Well, let me ask you why.
Okay, there's something called the best mode.
Okay, let me explain that to you, because I do understand that. The best mode of this invention stops as soon as you have the image, whether you ever sent it or not, or played it on your computer for that matter.
Okay, Elliot, I don't think you would want to stick to that statement you're saying right now, that your invention is so bloody broad. If somebody has done this before on CDs but never done it on the internet, and we can go sue them because they're now doing it on the internet, and your claim is valid when you interpret your claim to read on the internet, and that's all you ever care about, but now we're going to get you up on the...
That's not all I ever care about.
Is it...
Well, you care about stopping your competitor.
No, but I care about putting it on CDs and all those kind of things, or using it for any other application. That's the key here, Doug. The file creation, the concept, the invention, stops before it ever hits a network.
Well, here's what Elliot's really saying is our invention does not include a delivery system.
Right. So in one embodiment it would. And if you wanted to put a picture claim on your business, it's going to be one of our claims that includes a network, that includes pixels, that includes... I want a picture claim...
That can include.
Pardon?
That can include as one of the methods of delivery. But the delivery method could be a network, a hard drive, a CD-ROM, etc. As long as you cover all that, I'm fine.
Okay, I think what we're arguing about is the minefield. You want a claim that's broad enough that if it gets blown away, okay, it gets blown away. But I want a claim that's narrow enough that there's a less chance of it being blown away by prior art sneaking out of the woodwork. Because we're not experts in the field like Chris Taylor or something that can say, oh, well, you can't do that. Here's a reference. That's why I'm a little bit...
Well, can't we say that that's an added benefit of what we've done? I mean, I don't want to be confined to a network, that's for sure.
Yeah, no.
You're not.
Okay.
In one claim you're not, in another claim I want you to be.
Okay, that's great. As long as that's what I'm saying. As long as you got me covered on CDs or DVDs somewhere in the future, that's fine.
Okay.
Page 1.
In fact, when you let me just, I just want to cap this conversation. When you go through the methodology of the creation of the image and the display of the image and the formulas, there's nothing about a network.
Nothing.
Okay.
Right.
So all of that gives you total freedom to claim wherever you want to place that, whatever environment you want to place that. But I did have a thought, Doug, on the display, and a way to kind of be a little bit more embracing.
Then pixel-based, you mean?
Yeah, just instead of saying display monitor, we just say display system, and display system can be defined as anything with a visual user interface, be it a TV.
That sounds. Where is that? That's later, right?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Page 2, line 6 is the first one. It says display monitor, and if we just say display system wherever we have display monitor.
Okay, well, it's not everywhere. This is the background. We're not really talking about our invention yet. The first time we talk about display is describing figure 1, which is element 30 is the display. So that's where we'll stick in. It's a display.
Okay.
Just the word display.
Yeah,
And
system. Right.
So let's hold that in abeyance.
All right. Okay. I had a comment on line 15.
Okay.
Improved resolution for zooming and or panning within a single image.
This is the field of the invention. That's fine if you want to say that.
Is it?
It does. All this paragraph does is points the examiner in the right art field. Go search.
Okay, and that would just clarify to them that it's a single image, not a bunch of images zooming and everything. This is one file that has all this attribute.
Right. So it's
It can be additional files added into it, but those files retain these single images.
As long as it's understood that a single image embraces stitched images.
How about a single window?
How about a single file?
That's probably good.
That's fine.
That's the right terminology.
Line 22 seems to me to be an incomplete sentence.
It is.
Should say it is known that
No.
that one can view a digital image on a display.
That's what we talked about yesterday,
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
And you had terminology for that.
Yeah. Let me find that. It's right here.
I don't have my whole piece handy.
Well, I do, but apparently it's not that handy where to go. Yeah, here. Yeah, we were talking about in the prior art it is known.
Right.
And that's the concept. I can fix that sentence by saying
That one can instead of two.
it is known that one can view a digital image on a display screen.
Or is known in prior art or whatever.
Or it is, how about it is previously known that?
Yeah.
Okay. Or it would be proper then. It was previously, right?
Well, it still
Is previously.
is.
Okay, it is known.
It's known. Period.
Yeah,
It is
Previously
known.
or now.
Don't need previous answer.
Right. It is known that one
One
can view.
a digital image, and give it to, and zoom and pan within that image. Right? So give it a second to, okay. Boy, at this rate, this is going to be a long conversation.
Oh, yeah, it is. Because we go now to the next page.
I saw that.
Two, thank God. And where it's circled pixels, let's just be clear.
Have we got, I'm sorry, I got to back up. The limited bandwidth network, how are we changing that?
I thought we were going to remove that.
We're going to get rid of what?
Well, you don't need it.
The primary design challenges.
Delivered to his display system.
Right.
And the viewer desires ideal image quality delivered to his display system.
Okay.
And then you can go on in a network environment.
This is even more.
Right. Then you say in the network environment, it's essential to transfer, or it's important to transfer an ideal digital image in a reasonable amount of time.
pixelization's term. And my question is, and Brian will help me here, when you're looking at the screen and you zoom, are you seeing pixels?
You are seeing pixels.
But a screen has no pixels.
No, but no, pixels are mapped into a raster-based generation, but yes, there are pixels.
Okay.
You see pixels.
Okay. You do?
Yes.
There's no pixels, but yet you see them?
It's not a pixel-based medium, but the raster presents pixels.
And it presents them distorted.
And that will present them distorted.
Once you magnify on them.
Right.
Okay. Done. Okay.
It may take more than one raster to represent a pixel. In other words, a pixel is a composite. If it's a very large pixel, it will take several raster scans to create a pixel. But
you'll still see.
You'll see a pixel.
Okay. And when you blow it up, you'll still see a distorted pixel.
Right.
Okay.
So
This is the first opportunity where if we wanted to, we could say in line 3, in which the pixels, comma, data elements, or in parentheses, data elements comprising the image.
We can't.
We don't want that. We don't want
Just
that
data.
element.
Okay.
We don't want that element.
Okay.
Because it's, you see what's happening? It's, you still are drawing off a pixel base.
pixel, and then this is goofy, because the next paragraph we define what a pixel is. We're defining pixelation first, and then next we're defining pixel. Why don't we not define pixel up above? Well, yeah, I have to. In which the pixels, comma, i.e. picture elements. How's that? In other words,
Yeah.
everybody knows what a pixel is, but we're just throwing it
It's a picture element.
Okay, that's fine.
pixels, comma, i.e., comma, picture elements.
Right. That might even cover us another space that we
Yeah,
don't know yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Comprising the image become really apparent. Okay, good.
Okay. I go to page 3.
Well, on line 6, this is an opportunity to introduce the notion of a display system, sort of a display monitor.
It is.
Is that a problem to you?
I'm just one. It depends on where we have to go with it, Brian. Where do you see us going? Do we need the differences defined later?
You could be very accurate here, Doug, because when this was invented, I ran my computer / through my TV at times.
Mm-hmm.
So it was through both end displays. Remember, Brian, I brought you over. So I've always been running through a scan converter my TVs.
Okay. So where do you want to go with this, Brian?
Display system.
I just wanted to say display system. And the reason I say that is because if you say display system, you integrate into the description the scan converter. If you say display monitor itself, the display monitor does not contain the scan converter. That's generally housed outside in a set-top box or in the computer hardware itself.
Okay, I agree with you that you want to make that distinction, but do we want to make that distinction? We're still in the background. We're describing somebody else's, not ours yet.
Yeah, you tell us where you think the best place is to put it.
Well, I definitely want to put it when we first represent what display 30 is.
Okay.
But I don't know if...
Well, and by the way, here it's true, too, what he's saying. Brian's saying...
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, in prior art, if you played it on a TV, it's still pixelated. It didn't matter if it's a monitor or TV.
Mm-hmm.
So prior art, no matter how you played it, did this. And that's good to say.
In the background here, it's
Not important.
It's not important. What we do in the background is try and set up the straw man of the prior art, has his problems, and then you knock him down with your invention. So whether you set him up with this display or display system and you knock him down, he'll fall just as hard. I don't think that's going to make a big
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a big deal here.
deal
Okay.
here.
So it's become somewhere in here.
Yeah,
The right place.
there's a
Unless
point
we're
that-
making some stupid statement here. Let me read the paragraphs on 2 real slow here, and then let's make a call on it. Because if this is a good opportunity where we have to figure out the difference between a raster and a pixel-based system or scanning lines or anything, if we have to make that, if we have to educate the people in order to interpret the claims later, now is as good a time to educate them as far as what's with the background. I don't think we need to do that. I think we'll do it.
I've heard all it's saying is a prior art, no matter what system you played on. Here, what you're saying is prior art when you played on a monitor.
I guess, just from experience, there's really no right or wrong answer on this, guys. But just from experience, I would tend to disagree with you. Whenever I define a term that I care about, I always define it in the spec. Especially if it's not a normal, common, everyday type term that you want to talk about in the background. Because when you're saying that it's the same in the prior art as it is in your invention, you say that today, and you may want to argue that today, but maybe you want to change your mind tomorrow, and when the litigators litigate this, they're going to wish like hell you never said that it was the same in the prior art. Because you can point to your spec and
say, we were different on our TV.
Play system, and it's defined as such.
That's true.
And you can't go back to the prior art to go define it.
Okay.
So there's lethal ways of doing it.
Okay, so let's see where we insert that correctly.
Yeah, I think it'll be later when we're talking about element 30, when he defines the blocks of the system. Let's see, but as long as there's no...
Yeah, on line 14...
Line 14?
Where you say represented as a triple.
Yeah.
That, I think the correct word is triplet.
Okay, this is... Steve pulled this from something on the internet. So if you say triplet, it is right, yeah, triplet. Good catch. You're only one of 4 of us, 5 of us that caught that, Brian. Okay, teaching is there.
Now,
here's the bandwidth.
Yeah, thereby speeding the transmission. Now that is true.
Yeah, decrease the file size.
But it's not necessary.
So that, no, he's got it right here, right?
Oh, well, this results in a small source image file size, period.
No, the whole sentence says, plus the teaching in the art.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Still background. We're still setting up the straw man to knock him down.
Gotcha, but we don't need a network or internet.
We're not talking about us. We're talking about
other guys.
We're talking about the other guys.
Okay.
Yeah, prior art.
Okay.
And they were compressing the hell out of it and losing information because they knew they had to go through this limited.
No, but let me ask you this. Let's say you just set it up on your computer. You never put it on a network. I'll just give you the same argument. You wanted to display your family photos on your own display system.
Mm-hmm.
You built a frame. You put a picture, matched the size to the frame. Mm-hmm. And voila, it's on your system. You can't do anything with it. You can't zoom. You haven't communicated over a network. You haven't sent it to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But you still can zoom on it.
But you still can zoom and pan, you mean?
You still can't.
Oh, you still cannot?
No, because you built the frame wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, I mean, you built the image to target wrong.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right. So it didn't matter if you transmitted over any network.
Okay, now this will get really hairy. How did you build it wrong?
Well, because you only gave the frame the
same amount,
the appropriate size as was necessary to fill the frame.
Mm-hmm.
You designed the frame to the image.
Yeah, so it doesn't magnify at all.
Right.
Right, whether you had a network involved or not.
Okay, and if it's a little bit bigger than the frame, you can still pan, but not magnify, but not zoom.
Right, but the teaching in the prior art would be to match the frame to the image.
Okay.
That's how the world's been working for a long time.
Right, no, I totally agree. Maybe we should throw that, does that say that here?
Well, I get to a lot of places where we're going to add it, but...
No, that's a great line, what you just said, match the frame to the image.
Well, you see, now that's going to become critical when you say that 2 times magnification at least, because the truth is, nobody built a picture saying, I'm going to give it a little more edge so I get a little more zoom. That's the difference. You built the picture, you had a frame size, you popped in the image to be that frame size. Mm-hmm. You created the image for that size. You didn't say, I want to give them an extra pixel so they can zoom a little. Or an extra pixel or 2, or 2 times. So 1 drop, 1 pixel more than is required is the new art.
Well, the only thing we have to be careful about is there are that allow you to create an image which is larger than your viewing window, and operate on an image which is larger than your viewing window. What's different is that that image, when you see it in the viewing window, is at what you're looking at is the image as it is encoded. You're not looking at a compressed form of the image. By compressed, I mean scaled form of the image. So that
it fits in the frame.
So it's not sized to the window.
So it's not sized to the window. It's sized to the system frame, whatever the application is.
Right.
But it doesn't allow you to zoom into the image, and therefore to avoid pixelation.
Right. And
Remember that example I showed
that's
you?
what we had Chris Taylor say he had done years ago on his website. You can look at his website, by the way, msoe.edu, and Dr. Chris Taylor has his own link to his own personal webpage, and he has
What is it? msoe.edu.
msoe.edu, and Dr. Chris Taylor is his name, and it'll have a subdirectory for him. And then on his subdirectory, it'll say, "Go see images from my own website." And then he has his own personal thing, and in that he had pictures of stuff. And he says those pictures, which were done way before you guys, were when he first got here to Milwaukee, I guess is what he said. But he said that there are more pixels there than are needed. And it was that's the way it just happened to come out. There was no intent to do it one way or the other way. He didn't intentionally match the frame size to the image. That's what happened when he did it. But he's not providing scanning and zooming.
Well, that's the difference.
But he is not providing more than 2 times the pixels.
Well, that doesn't matter if you see, because really we're just saying that our art is based on the fact that we're providing an extra data that allows, whether it's 1 pixel or not, 1 pixel might give you a zoom factor of 0.00004.
I see what you're saying.
So why should we ever limit? The object of the invention is to create zoom by giving more data.
Right. Can you zoom, Brian, without going twice the number of pixels?
Sure.
Well, you can zoom to what you're saying is you have a target image which is 2x the window, or 2x the viewing image, and yes, it can be anything over and above the size of the viewing image. It's just a practical question of does it have any value.
Right.
When it has such a limited
magnification factor, it won't be.
But we don't know into the future if it will. Somebody could get around us by getting it somehow under 2. Or, as a matter of fact, what if you only need 1.5? Why should we limit ourselves? Because that's not what was created.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We didn't pencil out and say 2 times is what we need to do this.
That's a good. We got that too. Steve and I must have come up with that 2 times.
We all came up with it just because the first zoom button on your magnifying glass is 2 times.
Okay.
And we were thinking, here was our thinking, that you were able to click that button once on a regular image, and you were still okay, a little fuzzy, but you hadn't blown apart.
Right.
So we were thinking anything beyond that, but actually as I rethought that, I said, that's not the issue here. If you're designing screen size to match frame size, it doesn't matter if you give it 1 drop more. That adds to the zoom capability by some factor, that extra data. So 1.5 times. What if you only want to, what if your client says, I think we all agree, what if your client says, I've got a picture of my wife, and she's ugly. So I only want a 1.5 times magnification on her face.
Okay, we all agree.
I think
Anything more than 1 times is the definition.
I think there's a.
And I think he's got it in Claim 1. He scratched out at least twice and put in his greater than. Or get there, but the concept is there.
Right. So the nice way to say that is that the target image is larger than the viewing image. And you've said it.
Right, there we go.
Right, that's what we
Next one.
But just claim that concept.
Right.
Okay, do we have any more?
No, and providing zooming capability.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Which is the way you have it worded in the Claim 1.
Okay.
Right, I don't and your frame size was X, but that wouldn't achieve anything that we thought was cool.
Right.
Right. That would just mean you have an oversized picture in a frame, and you could move around by grabbing the picture. By the way, that brings me to what made us start thinking about this, was your Adobe example. You are grabbing a larger image, but you're moving it around kind of clumsily, and it's not achieving what we achieved. Do you follow? Because you're just grabbing and kind of moving. As a matter of fact, there's a technology that's...
Right, but you can zoom in there.
Yeah, straight in. And then you've got to grab it.
Yeah.
And move the larger image from that portion around. And there's a technology called Zipix out today that allows for something similar to that, but yet it's very annoying that once you're in and have to grab and move around. It's a much different effect and feel than what you get when you look at our images and grab and move around. Do you know what I mean? In our image, the whole thing is there pretty much.
Well, and this is a distinction that we begin to make on page 3, where the ability, our art allows you to, on a single image, once that image is received by the system or displayed on the system, the display system, it is complete. You're able to zoom in and pan around on it, and there isn't a requirement for the system to redraw the image or any section of the image.
You can't say that.
Why? Because other things do.
Well, let me first say what I'm saying, and then we'll pick out the parts that are wrong. And then the difference between some of our competitors is that they require, if you were to zoom into an image and look at that zoomed portion of the picture, and then pan at that zoom level to another section of that image needs to redraw the new information in order for you to see it.
And that's a trap, because in fact the display system only buffers what is on the screen, and when you pan, you refresh the display buffer.
Even in ours?
Yes. You have no control over that.
Right, you have to, because that's how you get a new image.
That's just the way the system works.
Right, you can't really do it off what you're seeing on the thing. You've got to redraw.
Well, maybe this is a distinction for.
But you're not grabbing a new file. You're not grabbing more files.
Right, and that's what I was about to say. This distinction perhaps is for the delivery over a network. Is that when it is delivered over a network, they require the transmission of additional data, whereas our data has already been received in its totality.
Well, that's the exact thing that Yahoo Map will do, right? You want to zoom into a map?
Precisely.
Right. It grabs a new image.
Right.
And there's the network. But what Elliot was saying earlier was, well, why not make the network the link to your hard drive?
Right, it is.
So then you have to go get more information off the hard drive. That's the question.
Now, but be careful.
Yeah.
Because in this day and age of virtual memory systems, there's a big gray area between the RAM and hard drive. The system may put part of that image on the hard drive.
It might put a part in RAM. It might put half of it in the network.
That system can reside in several different places, and you don't know it. The system is managing the resources.
I agree. So we have to figure out how to define, in broader terms, just put it in memory or put it in, source image storage. In other words, if the file comes over and gets lumped in memory means A, then it gets displayed to the display using however you want to do it. The question is, when you're zooming, do you have to go back to memory means A, whether that memory means A is across the network or on your hard drive or in a different RAM?
That's right. And that's a big difference, Brian.
Now, but I think now you're getting real technical, and I don't know that you're not doing that.
Well, the problem is if you, as you try to increase the precision of what you're saying,
you're limiting.
You have to be very careful.
Absolutely.
Well, then we've got to take out one drawback of this type of system is that each zoom or pan operation requires the downloading, and downloading is definitely the wrong word, of additional data over the network. Yeah, that's all wrong.
What page are we on?
Oh, we're on page 3, line 8. One drawback
the art now.
The mapping, the travel.
We're not talking about our system.
Okay. Then that's
That's
fine.
exactly what the disadvantage of the system is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's not designed to work that way. It's designed to be an integral component of the displaying system.
Although it's
and that's what we're talking about, the Yahoo Map.
Right, but let me ask you
Once
this.
again, however, it's not limited to the network
Let me ask you this
connection.
question, because I don't see networks at all right. Let's just look at the Yahoo Map program.
Okay.
I've got it on CD-ROM.
Okay, no, that's okay. I know what we're dealing with. When you move, whether you move on a network or off the network, it grabs that image and it's different than what we look like.
Right.
There's a definite difference of how those two things work.
Right.
Do you follow me, Doug? So it doesn't matter whether it's on your hard drive drawing the data, over a network drawing the data. What matters is that you perceive a difference between the way that the Yahoo Map goes and grabs another closer section of the map, and you're stuck there. Now you can't move back without going backwards to that other image, or to the left to that other image, or to the right to that other image, and all these things are broken down into other image, basically.
Right, you're getting another, what you called the hotspot. These are all hotspots.
Right, which is that technically a new file?
It's a new file.
Then maybe that's our differentiation.
You have to be careful.
Well, we don't go from another file.
No, but they may not go for it.
They might say that's all in one file.
Right.
Right.
So that really...
I think they are going for another file, because whenever you click on a map...
But Brian's right. So what? Even if they were,
right.
and it was 8 million files, we could combine it into one and call it one.
Yeah, see,
But then have you just made what we do?
you really have to be very careful, because you don't know how they've organized and structured that the whole mapping system.
You know what you do, Doug? You describe the optic. You say this is what you see with their system, and this is what you see with ours.
That's what we're trying to do.
And let's not get too complicated. Let's let that get explained out over time. If somebody wants...
That's the key. That's what our frustration is as patent attorneys. We have to define your invention in legal, technical words. You can't wave your hands at it. If you do, you won't get a claim through the patent office.
You can't say it looks
You're
prettier?
not going to get it through the patent office. It won't be upheld in court.
Can't say it looks prettier, huh?
No, you can't. And that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. I'd love to say it's when it looks like I view a technology.
Well, explain to me what's happening in my brain then on an electrical signal impulse, because there is a definite perception difference between what I see, why I see it differently, and how it relates to what I do, which gives you a completely different spatial representation within an image because of the way that I'm manipulating data. See, I always looked at our technology, just so, and maybe this stupidity might define something here. I always looked at when you take that big image of ours versus one technology where you could, let's say we both have big pictures, okay? Let's just say we both start with a big picture and a small viewing frame. One says you can move the frame or the picture and get a new image of that image, or even go deeper on it by drawing another whole separate image, okay? Mine, I always looked at is that put the frame in the center, and as you hit zoom, you're sucking in data towards you that's coming from the outside peripheral, not in separate little chunks and new images, but as one image, and it's pulling it into like a vortex, so to speak, and giving you that new data to let you zoom or move. Follow me?
Let me ask a clarifying question of Brian. When we transmit a file to a user, he gets the entire file into a temp file.
No, it's his hard drive.
Right onto a hard drive somewhere. Now, as he manipulates the image on his screen, as I zoom to level 1 and then to level 2 and level 3, or I pan within it, what sort of access to that file is made by the computer, let's say?
It varies.
Okay, but there is regular access back and forth to data points within that file.
Yeah, part of the picture may be residing on the file,
paper?
Oh, you want me to cut it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got a sticky yellow pad here.
Perfect. Use that on top of your patent application. Put it in the center.
Okay.
In my thinking, and I don't understand it, when we do the prior art, when we take that frame and we want to see the upper left corner, now remember our piece of sticky's in the center.
Right.
We now want to go to the upper left corner. We've got to move the frame over to the upper left corner, and now we're seeing that part of the paper.
Which means you're moving the viewing window over a huge image.
Or you're moving the image to fit in the frame. Okay.
But
now with mine, put that viewing window in the center again.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you want to zoom in or go to this zoom in. What you're really doing is sucking in this data, aren't you? You'd be almost pulling through the paper through that frame. That's why you have that effect.
No, what you're doing is you're scaling the
scaling the total image. Or that
scaling the total image to fit
What are they?
or to fit a reduced size window.
They're leaving the image as it is.
Then there is a defining difference.
Oh, I know. That's why you call zooming in. That's why the invention is described the way it is. And that's why when I do all the pictures and show all those relationships,
It shows.
that's why it's designed. It's laid out that way.
Can we define our zooming
Because there's a scaling that
as a
takes
scaling
place into
mechanism?
the viewing window.
That's the question.
What?
Can you do?
Should we define our zooming as the scaling of the image to a different window? Which is the normal way I think of or zooming and scaling.
Well,
I don't think of
the effect of zooming is to rescale the target image into the viewing window, or some portion of the target image. What you're doing is when you zoom in, you're narrowing from scaling the complete target image to a portion of the target image. And then what you're able to do is take that scaled portion and move it around through the entire image. But it's at a given scale level. You don't have to recompute for every portion of the image.
Fine with what we're doing. I just think we gotta. There's this topic number 14 to be cognizant of as we go through this, to make sure that we distinguish our zooming from hotspot zooming by grabbing another file.
Right.
Our zooming is scaling.
Well, don't say by grabbing another file, because it would be argued that that set of hotspots could be combined into a single file. And it definitely could be designed that way. I mean, I could write the file to be that.
But it would be another file.
No, I could take all 5 hotspots and write them into one file.
It'll be in one file.
Right, exactly. So you got to be very careful here of what the difference is. It's such a minute, yet it's such a profound difference what we do.
But it is another image.
It is another, right, not another file. That's the difference, right.
It's another image?
Yeah.
Of course, a hotspot would be a second shot of that image at a closer scale, at a closer view, but it could be combined in one file in the end, even though it's 2 separate images. And the hotspot could drive right through it in a single file source. So we got to be.
I'm thinking that the mechanism for our zoom is to do the scaling kind of on the fly as you're walking around. We never go grab for another file.
We never.
Hotspot or not, and how many you put in there. See, what I'm worried about is, don't you have hotspotting on your website?
No, but
Yeah, we've had them.
And you've had them, right?
Yeah.
And that concept of zooming is grabbing another image file.
Well, but it has the same attributes as our current files, so it's just grabbing another enhanced digital image.
It's grabbing another image, and you don't have to define it as a separate file, just grabbing another image. But let me tell you what I think, I'm trying to differentiate between some of these systems and what we have. We have, if you think of the target image plus the user interface, we have an It is an object. Whereas in the mapping system, your object is really the whole map system, whatever that is, and
It's the system application. So.
right. What happens with the mapping system is the application will create mapped objects according to what you.
Part 2 of the tape.
Which are then handled individually as you need them or as you request them. What we're talking about is an encapsulated image which has all these attributes contained within that encapsulation.
And that would be true whether or not it's on a hard drive?
Right.
I guess that's right, yeah.
And so we are striking downloading and additional data over the network connection. Because prior art didn't need that either. Prior art doesn't need that. To do Yahoo's map, you don't need a network, and you don't need more data over that network. See, you can never beat this argument. A network is just a hard drive. Because really, in the end, all you've done is like added a cable to your hard drive. And all you're talking about is the length of that cable, really. So networks are not applicable really to what we do. They are added value benefit that we can get through that cable quicker or whatever, but they are not the key. There is the network could be considered the cable between your hard drive and the display. You know what I mean, Brian? We don't need any.
No, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you specifically address a network environment in addition to
Totally agree.
the system. You absolutely want to make sure that the
That's
network
huge.
is explicit.
Well, as an additional wire, meaning it's got different properties.
And that's the way the plans are.
Okay, you follow that, Doug?
No. You do it, slow it down.
Sure. Okay, it's all based on this. You can do our invention off a hard drive, and it's still cool. The fact that you can transmit it over a fat pipe or a small pipe or FedEx it has no bearing. It does what Brian says. It is more valuable in a network environment because it now has the attribute to give greater, richer data that you didn't think was possible in a shorter time. I mean, you could, in the end, see the network and the limited bandwidth, that never matters because no matter, let's say your pipe was a toothpick, it would get there by tomorrow. Let's say your pipe is a direct line to the hard drive that's able to suck it up at 10,000 RPM or whatever. What's the term?
RPM, yeah.
What's the term? Not RPM.
Per second or
BPM.
Is that what you talk about, a hard drive?
Oh, no, RPM.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, typically.
Well, not for the data transfer rate.
Access time.
Yeah, I'm talking about how fast you can access your hard drive as a number. That you buy hard drives based on 7,200.
Oh, no, you buy a millisecond access time.
Okay, so now I'm just going to take we're now 20 years into the future, and Brian invented a pipe that can suck down that speed he just said. Hard drive speed. Well, there's no difference now, is there? The limited bandwidth.
Don't sell me on the concept that there's no difference between one hard drive and a network, and you're going to put the whole network industry out of business if you go there.
No, because it's a cabling system.
I know, but
it's just an access to a drive.
Your point, and I think we've been there, that we're going to try and claim the broadest embodiment of your invention to be independent of any network or any hard drive or
and
any...
prior art also doesn't need any downloads or any networks. Prior art, you could do Yahoo, Zoom, and Pan, and Jim Armstrong just said it a minute ago, I have it on my hard drive. And the program still operates by moving and grabbing this additional data. It has no network attached to it. He's doing it off his hard drive on a CD.
I thought we already covered that.
Well, I'm just saying because we were going to... one drawback of this type of system is that, and what it should say, if you want, is one drawback of this type of system in a network environment.
Let me try that.
I'd be happy to say that, but that says that over the network connection. The whole paragraph is to describe another example of prior systems.
Okay, but those prior systems don't require network.
Let me suggest the following changes.
No, wait a minute. Come on. What were we just wasting all that? The first sentence says over websites.
Well, that's all I'm saying. Does it have to?
No, it's describing prior art, and this particular example is over websites.
One straw man to settle.
Versus web CDs. Or Jim's Yahoo CD.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I understand one example.
And that's where we're going with the background. It is spinning our wheels here. Now, if you want to add that to clarify that, that's fine. But I don't want you to take away the distinguishing features that you have over network. Because you may have to go run there somewhere.
Then do what Brian said. Add it as an additional factor. Okay, good.
And I'll guarantee you're going to need to argue this when we go to the foreign countries, like the European Patent Office examiner. They're going to be really mean and nasty. I will bet you that they will find some very, very close art, and we will have to be throwing in all kinds, my guess is we're going to have to be throwing in all kinds of words that will have to be supported in the spec now to come up with something to survive a European examination if they find anything close. If we're not right, that this is totally a broad concept. Are you with me? I'm just trying to protect.
Okay.
We have to have a direction to run, and I need the ammo to do that. And I can't run to the network argument if you've either taken it out.
No, we're not taking it out.
Or you've minimized it.
We're not minimizing it. We're just saying you don't need it, but in that environment, it also is added value.
But let me point out one other thing, why it's important, even more so. If you take an implementation like a Zippix, if it's local, on your local system, in your hard drive, you wouldn't care whether, when you pan, you reconstruct the piece that you're moving to.
Sure, it looks different than what we do.
Because it moves very quickly.
But it still looks different than what we do.
But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you move the magnifier, you reconstruct the piece that's coming into the window, but you would never see that.
Right.
But over the network, where you have elements which extend the response time of the system, it becomes a big deal. And therefore, what you've got becomes more valuable, even more valuable over a network.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right, okay. I agree with that. So we're all hip on that.
I think so.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on.
Where were we?
We're on page
3, right?
We're through page 3. We're on to page 4.
Oh, and by the way, we also had a change on 21, if you noticed.
Okay, let me run over the changes on page 3. Additional, the website searches additional map data. Should we just additional new images and sends it? That would be fine with me. Oh, how about additional data as additional new images?
Additional source material, additional source
That would be additional source
data.
As additional map images.
Yeah.
Additional twice, but additional source.
I don't think you need new images. I think just source data.
But it's really getting a new image every time. It's getting a new map. It's getting a new. You're looking to the file. You're going back every time.
Additional source data. It's got to. Well, ours goes back and grabs more source data too.
Exactly. You've got to be careful. But we're not getting additional new images. I may have to argue that.
Okay.
You got to have that in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Retrieve file transfers is a pretty good term of art.
Well, but then somebody would say, is that high-speed cable or modem?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right. Just efficient.
Higher speed?
No, we don't care what speed. You could do it at a 2400 baud.
We don't care. What is it also?
The other system didn't care either.
Okay, that's fine. I'll leave it for
Right.
and then get rid of high speed.
You're just stuck with whatever speed the guy's got.
No, that's fine. To engage in long and slow conventional continuous file downloads.
Yeah, and that's fine.
You don't need. What's a continuous file versus a regular file?
Get rid of continuous. You don't need it.
Yeah, you don't.
Right.
Okay, what we were trying to say is that additional data there.
Yeah.
But we've already got that.
As long as and that's why I need that language up top to say additional data, additional new images, somewhere where I can go argue that this is what we meant and that's what the prior art does. So good. Okay. Whew. What's all the stuff at the bottom?
No, what we've been talking about. That's all we just discussed.
Gotcha.
Forget the top comment.
TV. I can't really. It's cut off the top. Lex or something.
That's fine. It's not relevant here.
Okay. Okay. 10, 11, 12.
At least twice greater than.
Yeah. At least greater than. Yeah, that's good. Oh.
Not at least, just an image size greater than.
Right.
Duh. Sorry. Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm kind of groggy right now later.
We were groggy too. We were doing patents till 4.
Till 4?
Yes.
And then, so how many hours sleep did you get?
No. 4.
Huh? 4?
Well, Jim got 4.
Okay.
I got none.
I got you beat. You got none?
No.
I spent the night at O'Hare.
Oh, that's my favorite place to sleep, on a bench.
On the bench. You got it.
I've been there a bunch of times.
Yep, I hear you. It just, I think Doug's black cloud follows him when he travels. Every plane I got on was delayed or broken.
Don't worry, it's just follows the travel industry.
I get it.
You should have rented a car and driven home.
I almost, I was thinking about that, but it was either that, I was worried about falling asleep too. Anyway, let's go on here. At least twice that's gone, that's okay.
So we're into line 15, 16.
Okay, and that's the right, that's scratched.
But no, 15, I would say the enhanced digital image file
That
is
line is-
played on a client viewing device.
Is displayed on a client's display system.
Yeah. The viewing window having a predetermined frame size.
Yeah, it is. Do that again on line 15.
The enhanced digital image file is displayed on a client's displaying system.
Instead of
Downloadable.
oh, I see, is displayed. Sorry, the same sentence is up above. Is, so it's not is displayed.
On a client's display system, comma, the viewing window, and then the rest is fine. And then line 22, get rid of at least 2 and create greater than.
Where?
Line 23, 2,
Oh, right.
magnification factor greater than. Oh, wait, what does it say? Hold on. Magnification.
I guess that doesn't read real
The
good.
magnification factor.
Oh, magnification factor of at least 2.
No, greater than 1.
Okay.
Greater than 1 without pixelization.
No, you don't have any without pixelization.
Well, this is
Yeah, no,
an
that's
embodiment.
true. Right,
Embodiment,
right.
So,
Pardon?
Yeah, that's right.
so it should be a magnification factor greater than 1. We haven't yet, I don't believe, defined a magnification factor yet, though.
No.
That comes later.
That comes later.
And you can use what I was telling you, Doug, where it was built onto a frame size, so therefore there's no additional data to draw from. Therefore, your zoom is zoomed to expanding the fixed pixel set.
And then the next sentence, the enhanced digital file further includes control data to allow the user to control the magnification factor. And the question we had here was,
encapsulated full thing.
Yeah, and they are two separate files that go to the
But they're
user.
encapsulated. They're essentially encapsulated. They always travel together.
They travel together, separately.
Right.
And that we should...
Travel together, but they are two separate files.
Virtually it's
Because we're
one,
calling,
but really it's two.
And associated with each other.
but we're calling it the
Right,
enhanced
you can.
digital image file. But that's not necessarily true, Ryan?
No, he's saying, here's what the story is, Doug. You got one file that's an image, and there's not a single drop of other data in that file. It's called a JPEG. We use it. There's also a file, there's 2 or 3 files actually, that get downloaded to the computer user, or he has it on his system already, it doesn't matter to us, that allow him to zoom and pan.
And those are transmitted simultaneously.
He has to have, there's additional data that is required, whether you have a plug-in or not.
Really?
The plug-in by itself has no information relative to the size of the image, to the number of steps you're going to take to drive into it.
But that's all built in.
There's another file, like an index file.
Okay, it is. That's on. Okay. And you were saying, okay, I got you. The person could have pieces of the file, like the applet, already on his system. Okay? But what Brian's saying is there's control data that goes with the image that was based on the image specs that then tells that interface to operate according to a set of assumptions.
Okay.
Right, Brian?
I agree with you. I think we're talking...
No, not within the JPEG file. You've got to be very careful. So we're not talking the same thing. Those are additional files.
Okay, look at page 24, claim 1.
Okay.
A method of providing a digital image file comprising 2 elements. A digital image file having an image size blah blah blah, and 2, a user interface for the digital image file.
But we don't have to provide that. That could already be on his system.
Oh my gosh.
He has to have one to view the image. We don't have to provide it.
But he has to have the control data.
And he has to have the control data to tell him how to view the picture. And that could one day be part of the JPEG file, I don't know. But today, how we do it is as 3 separate pieces. An applet, a control file that tells him certain things about the JPEG, and a JPEG. Those things come packaged together. Now, a guy might already have the applet on his machine, therefore I don't need to send him that packet, the user interface.
Is that true? Don't we send it anyway?
No,
We don't.
We do.
you don't have to.
We
Like
do.
live,
We
right.
always do.
Well, that doesn't matter with your infringer. That's how you have to think when we're talking about the claims.
What do you mean?
Would the infringer
No.
around your patent send it? No, he'd send it to you once on the hard drive, with your hard drive.
He'd FedEx it to you and then not.
He'd start sending you images, and each time you wouldn't be sending but each time you would be sending some kind of control data.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking, and that could be interpreted as the second element of the claim here.
Yeah, and that control data really controls the motion of zooming and panning.
Right.
But that could even lie technically on his computer.
Right.
The only case where that would actually work is if you knew that beforehand
The size of the JPEG.
the size of the JPEG and the size of the window.
And that could be for medical imaging, where they give you specs and say, send me every image of this size. You didn't have to send them a single thing.
If that was the only kind of image that ever went across.
Okay,
Okay, we're doing x-rays. There's an X, Y, and Z size. Here's our frame size. We never need to get the control data from you because it's built in.
There are different size X-rays.
Well, okay, but let's say we're dealing with a bone doctor who takes strictly legs, and it's always the same. I'm just giving you the case.
Yeah. I know, theoretically I understand.
Right.
In fact, there's
And I don't want to get around that.
radiography deals with more than one image size, but
Well,
theoretically, you're right. If you could find an application where there was one and only one image size, then you could put everything in the system.
a cell, pathology cell.
MRIs are always that same size.
Right, 2 by 2.
Yeah.
See? Okay,
We thought we had one nailed.
MRIs, you also
you do have it nailed.
Then you do rotationals.
We're missing,
A single image.
you just want to say, And well, now we might not be providing a user interface.
Yeah, this still reads that that it is a method comprising the
Yeah,
providing of.
you might be doing only step A at a time.
Yeah.
And one at, oh, damn, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a good, let's, boy. Let me think about that. What I want to do is the digital image, make the element A, that you're providing a digital image file, having this, that, and you're also having control data to work with the user interface for the digital image.
But you might not need the control data. That's what I just said to Brian. What if a client says to you, every one of my images is going to be a 2x2, and I want 50 times magnification? You never got to give them control data. You just got to...
We make the second part B a dependent claim. We can try it.
Do you see what we're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't...
And we don't want somebody to get around us here.
Absolutely. Great broadening work here. But we've been through this claim. I thought we had it. Everybody agreed to it last time and that's where I'm going to run into a problem. I can't rewrite this from scratch and get it on file today, working at half speed here, you know what I mean?
Well, we got to change that, though.
Yeah.
That changes.
But these claims are not final, again.
No, I know.
We can file the claims as is without one word. What we need to do is correct and amplify the specification. That's our job today, because we can never add to the specification and keep the same priority date. I can go change the wording of the claims as long as that wording and explanation and interpretation is in the spec. Okay?
Okay.
So I agree with you, though. This should be a dependent claim for the bottom half of claim 1.
He's going to make that dependent.
That'll be dependent claim.
Because we don't have to, but we do.
Right.
Okay.
Now, that's how you do optional.
Yeah, I like that. And then method 1, claim 1.
We have to, now does that read on the prior art? You provide a digital image file having an image.
No, that's the invention right there.
Right.
That if you ever looked at what I did that day, it was create a bigger picture for a small frame.
Now, if we circle back to where this started on page 4, in the last sentence,
yeah,
that refers to a digital image file, including control data, which is not correct.
Where?
The last sentence of page 4. It's not the enhanced digital image file that provides that. It's an additional optional file, right, that would provide that.
This is the summary. I can throw the word optionally in here. So the enhanced digital image file
may be accompanied by,
I think just may further include would be fine, right?
well, no, the file itself won't. It may be accompanied by additional file.
It could be in the file. We don't know. One day you could write the JPEG to have a header inside it that says, here's your information. All bundled into...
But this is an exemplary embodiment, which means that today, the enhanced digital image file would be maybe accompanied by an additional file. Which
What about associated with?
That's fine, I think, Brian. Associated with an additional file containing control data, and quite frankly,
Well, I think you can make it a very general statement, which will always be true, and then you can say the enhanced digital image file is associated with control data, which allows the user to control the magnification factor.
and the control data is another
Absolutely, it
file.
always has to be there, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you don't have our intention. That's the right answer.
Right.
Did you hear that, Doug?
The enhanced digital image file is associated
With
control data, and that's the only change right there. Strike further includes, and replace it with.
But I thought that you said that once you've associated the first one, you never have to associate the rest of
But
them.
it will still be associated with something that's on the hard drive, so we don't necessarily send it, but it will continue to be associated.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always associated. The data always has to be there to prevent zooming and panning.
Right, whether it's in the file, out of the file, with 3 files, 9 files, however the hell you want.
So we'll finally read the enhanced digital image file is associated with control data.
Hold on. The enhanced digital file is associated with control data to allow the user to
So
control.
the 3 words is associated with replaces the 2 words further includes.
Beautiful.
took care of that.
Yeah, I think we discussed the hell.
Yeah.
So that seamless zoom is what I love that word, because everybody else is in a seamless zoom. We are. We seamlessly zoom around an image. Everybody else has to grab and give you another frame and stop you, and you have to remove to the different image in the picture. We're seamless. You can just go around and move and go, and it's in a virtual environment, really.
Okay, now's not the place.
No, I know. I just want you to know.
No, but we can if you want.
No,
Can you remember seamless zoom? I like that. Let's, because you're back in.
Wait. Seamless may mean with continuous motion, and the zooming is a series of steps.
That's true.
It's not seamless.
But there is a way to define that.
Padding is seamless, but the zooming is
Yeah,
not.
but what I'm trying to get at is Elliot is trying to claim and describe the invention in terms of what the user sees, which is great. And as long as you can come up with good words and descriptions,
Give me a word for
we'll
that.
throw that in because we may have to run there if our technical description, which is what I've been trying to do to define the boundaries, falls because some bozo did this before and didn't really make it very public because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. We may have to say, oh yeah, but try playing his. It doesn't do what ours does, even though we couldn't figure out how to technically distinguish it in our
Right. We couldn't. Right. It was a brand new phenomenon that was hard to grasp.
Well, in order to argue that, I have to have your concept of seamless zooming.
Well, let's use Brian's of seamless pan and what kind of zoom? Continuous or flowing zoom?
Appears to be seamlessly zoom. What do you mean seamlessly zooming? Seamlessly panning? No,
Well,
zoom.
both happen seamlessly in ours. When you increase your Adobe picture, you move in and grab a new frame of reference, basically, at that stage. Now, you're kind of stuck there. In ours, you're not. You can seamless, you know what I mean? You can drive further and further and still have the rest of the peripheral view. When you do Adobe, the magnification is that true, Brian? No, because when you pull in the painting and you got the signature. See, it's not describing what I want to say, the seamless. For zoom. It is for
Yeah,
pan.
it's not seamless zoom, right? The seamless panning, I like that.
It's zoom, but the zoom is different.
You gotta figure out.
In look.
I agree. Now, how do we describe your zoom versus Adobe or?
Yeah. Why do you feel different when you zoom in our picture than when you push on magnification in Adobe? It's not seamless, is it? It's fluid.
Well, I don't feel any different. Sorry, Elliot. The only difference that I feel is that I know I'm gonna end up pixelating yours and all bitmapped images. Whereas I know I'm not going to end up pixelating. I'm going to hit a brick wall, but it's going to be a clean brick wall for Adobe. And that is...
No, it feels different. You're 100% wrong, because you would be the only guy I've shown this to that said that. Everybody found it unique, and everybody who I showed it to said Adobe.
For viewing an Adobe vector-based file?
Okay, or a Corel pixel-based file.
No, pixel-based I'll give you. Yours is different. But when you're talking vector-based, I think you can zoom vectors until the cows come home without pixelating.
Well, but you can't. The perspective is different. You're zooming when you take Adobe and zoom in on the image. You drive straight down to one point, and then have to somehow move differently to get to other points than you do in ours.
Yeah, generally you have to back up.
Right, or
have to unzoom and then to go find out where the hell you are. But that's not always the case either, right, Brian? There's Adobe Photoshop or other...
No, I've been using all these, and it's always been different. Our technique is different than all of those programs, and I've been using graphics programs.
Yeah, I know. And haven't you seen a graphics program that will show you where you're zooming? I know what it is. On Adobe 4. When you zoom, the left window, when you have that there with the bookmarks, it'll show you where you're zooming.
It has the box around that miniaturized photo of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
But that's just trying to give you what we give you
You're absolutely...
in a pre-pack. Ours encompasses that without having to need that. See, there's a difference that every engineer in graphics who's ever seen that said, cool, not, oh, I can go over in Adobe and move around images.
That's why I wish I was an expert in this graphics area. I would have figured this out, the difference.
Well, now that you say you're not, I need somebody to step in who can, because I think that we should file with what we have here, but this area needs to be absolute, not left kind of vague, because it is a critical difference. It is something that can be optically seen, so therefore it can be electrically defined.
And we're trying to do that in the video side with Chris Taylor.
Maybe we do it with him on this. You want to ask him?
Well, I don't. He's going to have a kid this summer, and I think not even going to be around much in August.
Well, maybe he's got somebody.
Yeah, maybe he knows of somebody.
Or go over to my old alumni at Madison. They're good graphic engineers.
This is in order to protect our butts, we have to do that by September 1st. And that's a big thing.
Why? I thought we can always go in and amend our claims or the stuff.
You can amend the claims as long as it's supported in the spec. Now, if we have to get down to the nitty-gritty of the definition of the technical excuse to amend your claims to distinguish over what has been done before, in other words, if we have to limit our claim to the histogram between a range of X frames per second and Y frames per second, that is our invention. If you encode at less than, I don't know, whatever the histogram shows up, 17.6 frames per second, that is not our invention. We may have to go there to be that narrow to survive if somebody else has done it at 17.
Well, wait a minute. I hope that's not correct, because at lower bandwidth, you might have only 17 frames, but you still have greater data. But let's get to video later, right?
Yeah, my point is that you want support in specification, including technical excuse language, because I may need that to put that in the claim to make your patent survive.
Well, so let's put something in here that defines this.
Yeah.
Something that defines.
But the point is that we can't hire a technical expert to get the
Well, let's get some language in that we'll get a technical expert to define later.
If it could be considered new subject matter.
No, it's never new subject matter, because the first image that did this did this.
No. New subject matter for the document on the day you file it. They don't care about what you did in your basement. The patent office doesn't care. They care about the words and figures that you put on this paper when you file it. That's all patent office cares about. You can't go back.
Well, that's not what you told Chris the other day. Chris said, what happens with a mom-and-pop inventor who later discovers the equation to what they did?
For finding who was the first inventor, that's an interference.
Oh, geez.
The question isn't whether the patent's valid or not or the scope of your claims. The question then is, was mom and pop doing it a year before the other guy? But if mom and pop didn't describe their invention in the spec, they will never get to an interference, or the interference will be blown away because it didn't meet the rule that you have to clearly and distinctly and accurately describe the invention.
Well, we clearly describe it, but we might not know the technical underpinnings, and I got to go recheck my notes, but I think that's exactly what Chris Wheeler asked you.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. We don't need to know the reason why.
But later we can put it in?
If it does not add new subject matter.
But this wouldn't be new subject matter, this would just be an explanation of why.
Yeah, but if we're up in the fog right now, and we are using words that are so broad that, let's say our claim says zoom and pan works really neat. That's our claim. There's no way we're going to be able to go back and say, oh, well, really neat really means having a frame rate between 30 and...
And you know what? Put in the word seamlessly. because I'll be able to argue that till the cows come home, that there's a difference between what we do and what they do, and somebody will argue out what seamless meant.
You won't get a chance to argue if we put the word seamlessly in the claim and it's not supported in the spec. The court will determine by itself, without ever talking to you, what it thinks seamlessly is.
Do we have to then, in order to cover this particular issue, do we have to get into a description of prior art and the standard by which zooming and panning is occurring in prior art, and then distinguish, as clearly as possible in words how ours is differentiated from it?
Mm-hmm. That's the ideal way to do it, Jim. That's what I'm saying. And if all of us knew that technical underpinnings, this would be a much more written document.
Is it necessary, Doug, to describe it in terms of technical underpinnings, or can we describe it in terms of a user's observation?
Seamless.
You're halfway there. User's observations probably won't give us sufficient.
Allows you to seamlessly pan.
Written in the claim will be interpreted by the spec.
That's true.
Now,
The only differentiating is
Zoom without pixel.
the zoom without pixelation.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
and then you saw I went to umpteen degrees to define what the hell pixelation was, because that's a word in my claim. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and I'm going to concede on that because Brian just made a good point.
So I guess
you said? Yeah.
Jim,
Yeah, we
you
need
have
to
to
know
know
we can.
the reason why in
Picture,
terms of
even if it was
technical
still-
reasons, but you do have to know enough about what you're doing in order to convey to the average person skilled in the art so he can make and use it.
But see, Brian, that's
And
my
so he
question.
understands what the hell it is.
That comes back to what's different between our Zoom without pixelating versus theirs. But we've already described in the way we built the frame.
Right.
That's the difference. Okay, let's stick with it.
Yeah. We have.
Okay.
We bounded how you prevent pixelation.
Okay.
We totally
And
bounded.
that's the key.
Okay, I'm lost now.
We're fine.
Working seamlessly.
Forget seamlessly.
Okay.
Page 6.
Page 6, right. We're off of 5. Page 6.
No, on page 5, I only have one more question. Figure 2, just print film is what it's showing. It can be digital, and we talk about that later, correct?
We separated now.
We separated the two. We caught that later.
Gotcha. Page 6, 24 to 32 millimeter lenses.
Uh-huh.
Why? We can use any lens.
It's a such as. It's an example.
Okay, as long as it includes every lens.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
And it says may include. That's not restrictive. But then if we ever needed, see, the reason we get so specific on this, Elliot, is because if somebody else just happens to be doing it out there in the world with a 2 millimeter lens, and it doesn't have anything to do, it doesn't come out looking like yours at all, but it just so happens our claim reads on what the hell he was doing, we can come back and say, oh no, that's not really what we were doing. We really meant this, and if this is important enough, we'll put the words 24, 32 millimeter as a dependent claim. So if we
But
both,
it's any lens, isn't it?
yeah,
What he's
my
saying
point
is
is, if this 24 to 32 means
And you can still say any.
anything,
We are saying any, but we've defined some. Okay. I'm fine.
if that was your preferred embodiment,
Yeah, okay, and that was.
that's the other reason
Okay.
it's in nature, but
That's fine.
it's not limiting if it's in the spec.
As long as
That's
it
fine.
wasn't limiting.
Thing in the print.
And then the image of a scene,
Line 10.
just strike it. Of a scene.
Okay,
Is utilized to
Fine.
contain an image which is being photographed.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
And then you see that the image may be a print film image, analog image, digital image, negative, TV signals. Can that be, Brian?
Yeah.
No? The camera can't just shoot.
Well, yes, you can, but you can use TV signals to create an image, but you can't enlarge TV signals.
Okay.
But you can use TV signals.
Okay.
as an image.
Isn't an image just broader than that? It's what the eye perceives, and once it's digitized, then it's a signal. Or it's analogized. Once it's captured in some format. So an image isn't really captured. It's a captured image when it comes to analog or long as your best mode is in there, we're fine. And when you use the wishy-washy language, the image may be. That's not restrictive.
In line 20, we inserted the word may only because it also may not include a developing device.
That's fine. The next sentence says that, though.
It does.
That's
I noticed that after the may came in. And we definitely talked about a digital file.
Okay, you're right.
Although,
Then should we leave the may out? Because it will include some. You got to develop print.
no,
I think he was right.
well, what if it did it all in one system?
Well, just a minute, he still develops, like a Polaroid.
Okay, I got what you're saying.
Polaroid
That's
is
what I
a
was
process.
thinking was
That's
Polaroid.
what I thought. But
Oh,
it does have a developing device.
Yeah, the actual image is a developing device. It would be.
No, it's self-contained.
Right, but it's still developing it.
Part of the film.
And it's still developing it, right. That's right.
I think they better leave it out. I mean, to leave the word may out.
Yes, but that's what we're going with.
I forgot about the other sentence.
Now, my bottom comment is wrong here, but it definitely comes in when we describe a digital image, because I'm completely confused by some of the logic there.
Where? At the bottom of this page?
Yeah, on a digital image, when we size it, we say that we don't make a bigger target frame than we have source image.
Because as soon as you do, you introduce pixelation.
Right. You don't want to enlarge anything unless it's not been digitized yet.
Well, you basically
what
the
the digital
enlargement
image
step is part of the shooting.
Digital image is a digital image. It has pixels. And it has a height and a width.
And it's just placing it now in the
And
frame.
you place it into the
So you've already done all the developing, scanning, and
Enlarging.
everything by picking, I want my image size to be 4 football fields.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you got
To
this
capture all the
line,
pixels
it's
that
the
way.
source image.
Okay, good.
But you don't enlarge that, because if you do,
You start pixelating.
and then
Because you're enlarging pixels.
Right.
We just
And that's
create it large. We don't create it small and enlarge it.
Right.
Right. We don't create it to fit the frame. We create it to
Right.
blow away the frame.
So is my understanding correct, though, that you never enlarge a digital image before you process it? That's not a step for a digital image. You only enlarge a print film image, correct?
Right.
But what you do is
Set
the image that you're taking, your target image, at a size so that when it is taken, it is already at a size that exceeds
But
the
technically, I see what you're saying, but I don't call that enlarging, I guess.
Oh, okay.
We're getting, okay, good.
Okay.
But let's make this clear, because I don't understand it still within the verbiage that's here.
Okay, what line? Where are you?
Well, we'll get to it. That's why I said it's there, because I started to get confused, and then later we'll get into it in the mathematics of it. Just wanted you to be aware of that.
Okay, page 7.
Page 7.
I'm sorry, I want to back up. Did he get into the enlarger? Okay, the only enlarging is on page 6, line 24. System 10 also includes an enlarging device 16 for enlarging the image which is developed by developing device.
Yeah, that's part.
Okay, 99.9% of the time, this is going to be a photographic enlarging device, right? Right?
Right, yeah.
We may have to use that word someday. I got to have it in here.
Okay, yeah, because we wouldn't call it a pixel enlarging device.
Exactly. Maybe enlarge the image may be
Well, we said earlier
photographically
that-
enlarged from
yeah.
a print film image. Okay.
We said earlier, it's not digital image source. For this section, did we not?
Yeah. And I just want to get the word photographically in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then this time, that's what you're saying.
A
Right.
photographically enlarged.
Well, it doesn't have to be photographic. It could be, well, it's a negative of photograph.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the word then?
Well,
It is.
I think it is.
Yes, it is.
yeah, you would say
Some other-
enlarging a negative is a photographic enlargement.
It's your choice
Okay.
whether you enlarge it as a positive or negative.
What we're really talking is analog enlargement as opposed to digital.
Right.
Correct.
Optical, analog.
Oh, analog, yeah. That optically enlarged? No? Yeah, that's optically or photographically is optical.
I wouldn't be restrictive in that. You don't have to be restrictive in that.
Right. And photographically is generic.
Cool.
Okay.
Page 7.
Page 7, line 19. The question here was just a clarifier, really, and it's more for Brian than anybody, are we able to take our digital image and I think we talked about this earlier, but send it like right to a set-top box or something else.
Absolutely.
We don't say set-top box here, and
No,
I think what you said earlier, set-top box presupposes that it includes a computer element within the set-top box.
Yes, but we could, Doug, we could externalize that. We could make it explicit that maybe personal computer, laptop computer, so and so, set-top box.
Yeah.
We can include set-top box in that string of definitions.
Right, and technically this is a little bit goofy. The way we're supposed, and maybe he did it, I don't know. The first time the number 22 appears in the spec should be a definition. And the numbers, if you notice, are in order. The first the number 10 is the first reference number, 12, 14.
Right.
That's how you find the reference numbers in a well-drafted patent application.
Well, that confused the shit out of me.
Well, okay,
Where the 10 came from, why it was there.
Now you start at 10, your first, if you look at page, and this isn't a big deal for you guys, but look at page 5.
Yeah.
Your one illustrates a system 10, boink. System 10 includes a camera 12. We go on up 12, 14, 16, and move on up.
I followed that.
So you never need to know where those reference numbers were defined. That's why you define them up front, and that's where he missed this. Because 22 hasn't been defined yet, but he's using it. Computer 22.
It first shows up in line 17.
Exactly. So let's genericize that and define it later. So alternatively, a digital image may be provided from camera 12, may be provided directly to the user.
In line 17, to the user, and then the first reference is in line 21,
Yeah.
where we define computer 22.
Right.
That's
Right.
fine.
That's good.
And then add to that set-top box
Yeah, down below.
in
Or
21.
TV.
Or whatever. We're getting that.
Right.
Hang on. So it's to the user via communication link or cable. By communication link, I'm getting rid of or cable because, again, he hasn't defined 23 yet. 23 will be defined later because he hasn't introduced 22 yet. That's what happens when you edit a patent application.
Doug, how would you take care of the situation where the set-top box may be integrated into the display device?
Right.
I think that might be covered in the next thing where we say computer 22
Exactly. We're gonna
includes a
yeah.
CPU, a ROM,
Exactly.
a
We're
RAM,
gonna call-
a display device, or input device. It also may include any other hardware device, peripheral device, or software necessary to perform the functions described herein.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we're there.
And that does get us through that.
System 10 also includes a computer 22.
So I was just thinking that same thing.
Device. That's the function of computer 22.
Yeah.
Processes the digital image file, correct?
Yeah.
And that's, we're talking about figure 1 still, right? You got the figures pulled out to the side like I do, right? Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, you're supposed to, because when you're reading this, you're supposed to have the
You know,
figures.
mine are so bent up, it's not that hard to get to.
Usually the pages are so out of order you can't find the figures anymore. So system 10, see the number 10?
Yeah.
Includes computer 22, that's his box 22, configured to process digital image file created by the above mentioned devices. That's
computer?
This is our computer.
Yeah.
26 is the user's computer and display and set-top. I mean, 28 and 20 and 30. That's what I was thinking about. Or because later I said in the next page, I'm going to come and say if you look at the figure 1, 28 and 30 could be combined to be a set-top box or a TV or you name it.
Yeah, user computer.
Or a toaster with a display.
Right.
The point is, what is computer 22? That's the one that puts it on the internet. That's your server.
Right.
So you don't put the top.
Well, that's the one that processes the source image.
That's what I think. That's the digital image file.
And it may be the server.
It may be the server, but no matter what, it would be a computer to put it on a hard drive or to put it on a CD-ROM, right?
Right.
That's what we're getting at here. It's the processor. It's the encoder, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
So could it be a personal computer? Sure. It could be any of these he's got.
Yep.
So he's correct so far without changing.
Right.
Computer 22 includes a CPU, a ROM, a RAM, display device, input device, and he's defining it there. I would say typically includes.
Yeah.
Because it may be missing one of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Typically includes or central blah, 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 blah. Good. Computer.
Yeah.
You may also include any other hardware device for
That covers it all.
software.
I gotta go back to page 7 because we made a change I don't think we should have.
I'm still on 7.
Okay. page 7, line 17.
Uh-huh.
Computer is correct. We shouldn't put user there.
Oh, you're absolutely right. But I can't call it computer 22 yet. Alternatively, the digital image file from control may be directly to.
The processing unit.
But read the whole point of this paragraph is to say print film versus digital. In this print film can be enlarged and scanned. Alternatively, digital file is provided directly without first creating a print image. It doesn't matter where and how.
Right. Just say that.
Provided
Now, let
directly
me ask you this.
without creating a print image.
Did
Forget
you
it.
ever create a case where the analog camera takes the pictures according to the right specs and puts it on the film that way? Or would you have to use a larger film format?
No,
You can't go that way.
Well, but we do that with 4x5 film.
But it's still 4x5.
Right.
When you shot the picture, it's 4x5. You can't tell the camera, shoot this 10 times bigger.
No, but what you do is you scan it at different densities.
And that gets it the bigger.
That creates the...
That's why I'm probably getting confused on this digital image too.
Yeah.
And what if you just moved, what if you left line 16 and 17 alone and just moved the whole paragraph beginning with line 21 in front of that, where you define computer 22 before it's used in that sentence in line 17?
Because it doesn't really flow there. What you're trying to do is that paragraph that he's saying, if the image is obtained with digital, he's describing the printing device 20 there. And that has to be described before 20 has to go before 22. That's where he's introducing what 20 is.
Yeah, although with line 15, the sentence starting with alternatively, that actually does not talk about printing.
Oh, let me read it again. I think you're right. Okay, if the image is obtained with a digital camera, print image may first be obtained.
Well, he's saying you took a digital picture and you want to print it and then enlarge it.
Yeah, you send it to a printer, 20. In this manner, print image can then be enlarged and scanned.
Right, so even though you don't have
Send
to...
it to a...
patent meeting.
We left
Docket 57, 103-120.
Start on page 12.
whatever you want to. Come back to page 7. So page 12.
And I think a lot of this is going to be totally fixed up by this change that Brian's made, or this correction that he's made. But I just want to be certain of it.
Okay. And I'm a lot colder, guys, on this, on that than Steve was. So just do a dump on me. make me the corrections, and I'll just do it kind of cold without analyzing it, and then when I read it again tonight,
Okay.
I'll see if I
First thing, Brian, is I just want to make sure what you meant here is you want that to be VWW
No, I don't. I want it to be VIH.
or VWH.
It can be either one, but I want it to be VIH.
Okay, well then let's talk about it. Because then what we're doing, in the first line of this page, we're saying the viewing image height and viewing image width within the viewing window can be determined by comparing the source image aspect ratio to the viewing window aspect ratio. So the unknowns are the height and the width of the viewing window, viewing image window.
But no, once you know the aspect ratio, what it says is if you compare the aspect ratios, you know what those are.
For the source and the viewing window.
Right. If you know what the aspect ratios are, all you need to know is determine whether you're going to use VWH as the basis or whether it's going to be VWW.
Okay, so let's just say in the first that the source image aspect ratio is greater than the viewing window aspect ratio.
Right.
Then we're going to set the viewing image height equal to
The viewing
the
window
viewing
height.
window height.
Right.
In order to get the viewing, and then the next line, in order to get the viewing image width,
Right.
we need to divide the viewing image height, which we don't know.
We do know.
Okay, tell
Because
me.
it's equal to VWH.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Just add them in the line above.
So we're really saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is mathematically correct.
Okay. Okay, so we are saying the same thing.
Right.
grammatically, Brian. I'm partially kidding on that, but when you use the phrase target image size, go to, well, you don't have, maybe you do have a spreadsheet.
Okay, let's come down. Let's
come down.
Yeah.
So let's say if that's false.
Well, my question is the language. You say that on line 24, 3, 4, a target image size, TIS, has a TIW and a TIH. Does that make sense to call the window a TIS or a VWS for size? It's the same concept. Width times height equals something. You want to call it area? That's even clearer.
Yeah, size and area are interchangeable.
Well, maybe we should say that the target image area, TIA, having a target image width times height, that's beautiful.
They're interchangeable, so it'll work either way.
Okay.
Okay, then let's just continue.
We're simply defining
Size as area.
Size as area, but size is total number of pixels, which is area.
My only question would be, can I make the, at the top of page 12, where you said a viewing image height, VIH, and view image width, VIW, within the viewing window area, VWA?
Yes, that would be very clear.
Yeah. Because, you're also consistent with the target image area. Now, but am I doing the wrong thing here, Brian? Because you used VW earlier. Are you using it consistently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's consistent.
I see, if just continuing with my thought pattern in the else statement, I would just reverse the order of these. It puts VIW.
It's right there.
Okay. Okay.
So if you pick it up off the computer copy that I said, it's correct.
Oh, okay. So do you want, is that what he did, is just plug it in, or did he do something?
Yeah, he did. This is what I sent him last Thursday.
I see.
I had written.
Oh, okay. Well,
This is where it was transcribed.
Okay, well, clue me in where this started, Brian.
Okay, so you go down to on page 12.
Is page 11 on your sheet or not?
Page 1 on the imaging process.
Yeah, where is page 11 of the text, the formula? Starts at figure 7.
Yeah, you got to go back to 11 and start them in figure 7.
Yeah, hurt me off here, so I don't blow this.
Oh.
Right. He wants to get every term.
Oh, okay. Okay. On page 11, we define the aspect ratio.
Right, now can I, is that, which is on page 1 of your new thing.
Right.
Got it. Oh, okay, that's what I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, it's on page 1.
Brian, do you want me to... You still want me to use his text, because it looks
Yes,
like...
no, his text is fine.
Yeah, it looks like he added words to your...
Yes, no, he expanded,
Right, he expanded it to make it readable.
right.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. But the formulas, I should go through each one of the formulas and make sure that they're correct, right?
Right.
Well, that's what I'd like to do now before I run out of time.
Okay.
Brian, down you're on the 12?
Yeah.
On 12, when we, after line 25, where we start talking about these equations,
Right.
the statement here, I don't see as being expressed right now. It could be wrong, but the TIS equals the TIW times the TIH. Agreed. But that also equals VIS times the magnification factor.
That's correct.
And when I redo this formula, I understand that the magnification factor is equal to VIS over TIS.
No, it's not true.
Okay, because up
Oh, wait a
above,
minute. The
we do
magnification
say-
factor, yes, it is. The magnification factor is TIS divided by VIS.
actually I had it the other way. VIS divided by TIS.
TIS divided by VIS.
Magnification defined as the ratio of the viewing image to the target image.
Right.
So it would be VIS over
What is
TIS.
the ratio?
Of the area?
It's got to be one over the other.
It's,
So we got to express it right.
It's the target, it's the TIS divided by the VIS.
Okay, then let's go to line 18, line 19. Then this is stated wrong. The magnification factor is defined as the ratio of the viewing image to the target image.
Okay, so we
So
reverse that.
that needs to be reversed.
Right, but that's word for word what you have on top of page...
So it's defined as the ratio of the target image to the viewing image.
Okay, so those need to be reversed. In which case, we've got TIS divided by VIS equals MF. If I'm solving for TS, I got TS equals Viz times MF. There, now you're right. Okay. So that down below is fine. That's where I got
Yeah, because the target is going to be generally greater than the viewing image window.
Yeah, I just couldn't reconcile
number,
the
gotcha.
formulas because of that just the transposition, that's all.
Brian, what are you ratioing? The sides, the area,
You're ratioing the area.
the areas?
Yeah, and I like that clarification.
Can we say it's the ratio of the areas? Or the
ratio
ratio
of the areas,
image
because-
area to the target image area?
Yeah, because when you magnify, you're magnifying area as magnification is an aerial function.
Excellent.
So height times width is area, which would be good if we,
Yeah,
every time we refer to either target image or viewing image, we call it viewing image area or target image area.
The only reason I picked size instead of area is because we talk about aspect ratio, and if you begin to use the A, and A shows up
Oh, I see.
in a number of different forms, and therefore I didn't want the confusion of A
see.
in one being A, aspect ratio being
That's
the
right.
same as A in area.
I see.
That's the reason why I did that.
Okay.
But we understand that area and size are synonymous.
Okay.
Let's just get rid of the A in aspect, make it SIR. And that solves your problem, and then everything else is also
That's right.
3 digits. Letters, right?
That's okay, because as long as we define aspect ratio as
SIR. Right.
SIR, source image ratio, is the aspect ratio.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. And that goes on line 4 as well.
Yeah, all the way
Okay.
through.
Great.
It actually,
Now, again, Doug, just in the interest of time, I think what I'd like to do is apply the semantic changes to the text
Okay.
later, after we've made sure that some of my math questions that Brian are on the
Yeah.
same page
No,
before I have to leave.
And I'm not even sure we'll have to do that because I have to go through it when I do the edits here, and I will do the same thing you're doing, see that it makes sense.
Okay. On the top
Language
of
makes
page
sense.
13, then, what I was able to determine from this and confirmed with Brian is that the source image aspect ratio is equal to the target image aspect ratio.
right.
And the question is, was this intended? Because and we started to have this conversation, is that we may not have, we may crop photographs,
Right.
we may want to stretch a photograph.
Right, but let me explain how that works. First of all, in the image sizing program, you have the ability to change the size of the source image from a standard image. In other words, if you're cropping, you can specify the crop.
Right.
So, and it will give you the right dimensions, and it will fit it into the viewing window. Okay, so a cropped image.
But it lost data.
No, didn't
When
lose
you
any data.
crop, don't you cut away a piece of data?
It's before you get data. It's while it's still an image.
Right.
So it just smushes it in right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it
That's
fits
what
it into
we're
the viewing
doing.
window properly. So you can specify a cropped image source without any problem. But the case that isn't covered yet, there are two cases that aren't covered yet. One is where you digitally crop an image. Okay, which you can do. You can get there, but you have to know how to get there. The second is we have not covered the case of the panorama or stitch images.
But it's still one image in the end.
I know, but we haven't covered the case of the
map.
dimensions.
Right.
Because it assumes that you always fit the image into the viewing window. But in the case of stitched images, you don't.
Why?
You let the
image flows beyond
the
it.
image flows beyond the edges of the viewing window.
It does?
Yes. When you first look at a Hyatt hotel pool shot, you don't see the whole shot. You see one shot and then you pan around it, so you're not
Right.
fitting the whole image into the viewing window to
But
begin
we
with.
never were.
On a single photo you are.
On
The
a
fire art also gave you the ability to do that too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
But from the math standpoint, he's not creating a formula for fitting a panoramic image
Into a viewing window.
because you don't do
Gotcha.
that.
right.
Okay.
What do you
But
do
now-
in terms of actually doing the math, Brian, or the practice?
Well, when you get to when I get that built into the image sizing program,
Right.
what it will do is it will size the panorama into the viewing window vertically,
Uh-huh.
and then it will allow you to pan horizontally across the image.
Or vice versa?
Yes, theoretically yes, although we don't have any examples of vertical
How
stitching.
both?
But
What
you
happens if you wanted to, well, panning bigger? You
Well,
never
you
want to pan
could-
bigger, huh?
You could do what you're saying and pan vertically and horizontally. We just don't do it as a
Well,
practice.
but if you did that, then
You're back-
so what I'm saying is you size the image into the viewing window so you always see one dimension completely
Okay.
Right.
My suggestion on this,
until you start zooming.
Right, and then you bring in...
Yeah.
Okay.
my suggestion is that we don't, and of course we're not going to worry about that today, we don't have the time to do that. We'll just hand wave that when we get to the end of this and we're saying, well, then we'll say, of course, when you stitch images together to do pan, you would first do the small size and then whatever.
Right.
We'll just hand wave because the point of this math is to give us a basis for putting technical definitions into the claims if we run into the problem that we needed during prosecution.
Well, and then not only that, but it also is very helpful when we're talking to, when we're doing due diligence and we're talking to people about how does it work. This is how we sit down with them and say, here's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that's off the seat of the pants.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that follows a disciplined structure.
Oh, absolutely, and that buys you credibility.
Right, and then when we license someone, this is part of the
And the
documentation.
biggest thing is it the best mode? Remember, we have to disclose the best mode of making and using your invention.
Yeah, and this
So this is the best mode.
Yeah.
is the best mode.
Yeah.
This is better than blowing up images.
Let me just further go into the source image aspect ratio equaling the target image aspect ratio for a second. I've got just an example written on the side
Okay.
with those people in a box. And if we start with the small image here, which is a 6 by 8, and we blow it up to an 8 by 10. Well, that doesn't matter. We end up with then a source into the system. Then we create the target image. Yeah, well, this is before it goes in.
If the source image is, say, an 8 by 10, right? What the formula does is it tells you how to scan it so that you arrive at the right target image. Blow up. So if you look, if you go down through, it says, and by the way, if you follow the program says, and the right scan density for this is this many pixels per inch, and that will produce you a digital image which has the magnification factor and the.
That's the next step, but I think I know the answer to this. But in this example, which of these two things is considered the source image?
The source image is the 8 by 6.
The target is the 8 by 10.
We have to define that, guys.
Okay, well, hold on, because we've got. Then let me just follow this math, and I just want to understand why I'm wrong here. In the source image, then, we have an aspect ratio of 3 to 4.
Yep.
Okay, on an 8 by 6.
So it's a portrait.
It's a landscape.
Oh, okay.
It's a landscape.
So it's.
So this is a picture of my kid.
So it's 6 by 8.
On the beach, but I want to frame it in a portrait frame. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna crop the edges.
Right.
Turn it into an 8 by and blow it up.
Where do you crop it?
I'm going to crop it on the scanning program. Let's say I got a print image. I'm going to throw it on the scanner.
All right.
I'm going to throw this on the scanner. I'm going to crop the edges off. Blow it up to an 8 by 10.
You don't do that on the scanner. You don't blow it up on a scanner.
Okay. Well, let's say then
you blow it up on a photograph.
Let's say I blow it up then before I scan it.
Right.
And then I crop it. I end up with an 8 by 10, which is an aspect ratio of 4 to 5.
Right. It's not a portrait.
It's not a portrait.
Right. 4 by 5. Right.
4 by 5.
5 by 4. It puts
5 by 4. 5 by 4. Exactly. Right. I did that backwards. 5 by 4. So now I've got
an aspect ratio of 1.25.
Right. I've got a 3/4 aspect ratio for what you're calling my source image.
No, you got. Well, I don't know anything about that. All I know about is this.
This is the source image. That's why I asked you which one was the source. This ends up being the source.
That is the source.
What is that?
I don't know. I just
the original picture he got.
I don't know anything about that.
Why?
Because what you put in the scanner, the system considers to be the source image.
Although there is a step here.
Well, this is what he's putting in the scanner.
No, but there is a potential step here that's not a part then.
Because then the enlarged image is the source image.
Right.
Because if there's a step before digitizing that says we can take an image of any size, create the ultimate source image from that in, let's say, any dimension you'd like, via cropping and enlarging. And then we will end up with what we are calling in these formulas a source image. But we don't talk about this. I don't know if it's important, but it's a step that confuses me.
My thing was not important.
It's not important to its formula, but what I'm wondering is if it's important to our process.
Well, it's definitely a part of the process.
Well, no. If you go back through, you understand this.
Right.
What your controllables are, what your scan density is, what your aspect ratio is, how you fit it into the viewing window, what your target size is, and if you know all that, you can determine the trade-off between your ultimate source, whatever that be. I know nothing about that, and what you put in the system.
I recognize that. Yeah. I'm one step before that whole process, and now I'm taking ourselves outside of the math, saying, and then we can table this, and you guys can talk about it later. You just told me that this lower image is the source image, yet it's not what the client gave me. The client gave me this picture. Greg Manning gave me a baseball card with a whole bunch of header information and said, take the header out. Give me just the picture of Newell Lowell, or whatever his name was. Just the picture. And so I don't know if we want to include anywhere, if it's important, the step that is our editing of an original image before it becomes what we're calling a source image. That's all.
Well,
and let's leave it there for right now.
Yeah.
But we have that same problem. I was confused, and when I look at Brian's figure, to say that the target image is surrounding the viewing image, I get confused as to what do you mean by the target image.
Well, the target image is the file.
What's the word target mean?
Target, because what you're doing is you're creating a virtual image into which you zoom and pan. It is a virtual image.
Oh, so you're targeting to the virtual image?
Yeah.
Or you're targeting that big... Well, what you're talking about is semantics, and I had the same conceptual problem on my first read, understanding the difference between target, source, and viewing.
And viewing, yeah.
And that's something you guys can talk about, and that's just really a global change in semantics if you decide to do that.
Right.
But I'd like to move on to the next question. I have formula-driven, and it's the scan density.
Right. It's not in here. It's on the image sizing program.
This?
No, the other one that I have, where you put in your parameters and it automatically computes.
He wrote an Excel spreadsheet with macros to do that with code. We have not written an application on that yet.
Well, that should be here. Yeah, because we reference it. We
Reference the program?
No, in line 11.
reference the map.
In line 11, we're talking about how we determine a minimum scan density. And we actually have a formula here, which I don't understand. But if
the minimum scan density says you will scan at that DPI or that's.
And is it target image height or is it area?
No, it's scan density is linear.
No. Okay, let's look at this formula though.
Where are you? What page?
I'm on page 13, line 13.
Okay.
It's the ratio of the source image height to the target image height.
Just height. There's no width in there at all?
Because you've got a fixed aspect ratio. The two aspect ratios are the same, therefore it doesn't matter. And if you try to use area, it's a square function.
Right.
So it doesn't give you the right answer.
And does this end up giving us the dots per inch
Yeah.
result? So if I've got a height, then you're saying that we're expressing the height in terms of pixels?
It can be either in inches or in pixels. Typically, it's in inches because when you want your scan density is when you're scanning, and your scanning is in.
Okay, then let's use an example I put here. If we have a source image of an 8 by 10,
Right.
and our target image is going to be let's fix this and call it an 80 by 100, so we keep
Right.
the same aspect ratio.
Right.
We then end up with an MSD of the height, which would be 80.
Your target is going to be in pixels.
Okay, well, this is what I want to clarify then, because that doesn't say it. So the target...
The target is always defined in pixels. It says it earlier in there, but it always says it's pixels.
Okay. But we don't always use the TIH in a formula in a pixel form.
We always use it in pixel form.
We do?
Yeah. That's the only way it's ever expressed.
Even up in these formulas and everything?
Yeah.
Does it have to be in pixel? Can it be units?
No, it has to be in pixels.
Huh?
It has to be in pixels.
And the viewing image width is always in pixels?
Yeah.
Viewing target, but not source? I don't get it.
Well, the source...
The source is whatever medium the source is in. It's if it's a 4x5 piece of film or an 8x10 enlargement or whatever.
Well, let's follow this through then. So, in order to...
That's not the source image. The source image is what you create from the 4x5.
Well, I think that's something we need to clarify in these.
Exactly.
We need to be able to say that target image, in these formulas, in order to calculate them, target image heights, widths, and sizes are all...
Viewing window width in pixels, height in pixels.
Okay, it wasn't on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Source image, generally in inches. I mean, I laid it all out.
Okay. All right, it wasn't in this one. So, but let's just look at this for a second. What would the number of pixels be on something like this if I got 80 inches by 100 inches? What would 80 inches be in pixels?
That's probably around 8,000.
8,000. So we got 8,000 pixels divided by the height of the source image is 8. So we have a scan density of 1,000.
Right.
Okay, that works fine.
example 1. Let's go to example 1. None of your assumptions for example 1 have changed from this sheet to the next, Brian?
Right.
Okay.
Are we doing example 1 of the...
On page 13, beginning on line 17.
Are there changes, Brian?
Perhaps. We're going to go through it.
I'll look at it and see. They should be...
Why don't we just go to the example 1 in your new?
Okay.
Unless it's the verbiage that he's having a problem.
It's not verbiage. Okay, so we've got a source. Everything is the same here. 320 by 480 equals 400 pixels. Viewing image size is equal to 128. Target image size is equal to 2560. Good, we got the square root in the formula now, is 1789. Target image height is 1431. Minimum scan density, I think, is wrong.
No, it's not.
The minimum scan density is said to be...
You multiply the minimum scan density...
Wait, let's just do the formula. The minimum scan density is what? Defined as the target image height,
Right.
which is what? 1431, right?
Right.
Okay, you have 1789. So 1431.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the target image height. You start with the target image width. Well, you can do it either way. It's 1431 is the target image height.
Right. So that's the formula. So now we have, so in order to use your formula, it's 1431 divided by what?
By 4.
Not by 5.
No.
Okay. Okay, so that's just a general correction. You actually end up with a very similar answer, mildly different by only, I think, 0.75. But it is different. Oh, no, you don't. You get, wait a minute, scan density is the target image height. Target image height in example 1.
Calculator.
Yeah. And it may just be a rounding function.
It is.
How do you turn this on? Oh. So, but as we show the math, we should show it's consistent with the formula, right?
What does it
Yes.
say?
Right?
Yeah, what does it say?
357.75.
Right. It's rounded up to 358.
357.75.
There are no such things as fractions of pixels. So it has to be 358.
Right. 1789 divided by 5 is 357.8. So it's slightly different. And that's why
It's not different. You can't have a fraction of a pixel.
Frank, don't get upset about this.
Sorry.
You have an error in the way you show this, and all I'm doing is pointing out that we can't have it in the patent that way. We have a formula that says it's height divided by, it should be 1431 divided by 4. We just went over that on the previous page. That's all I'm saying. If the answer is right, either way, we need to express it as 1431 divided by 4. That's all. Okay. Do you have that, Doug?
No.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure.
Okay, look on his new sheet.
Yep.
The only correction to his new sheet on page 1 is the second to the last line. The minimum scan density equals 1431 divided by 4 equals 358. That's the only change.
Equals. Okay.
Okay. Now, let's see, did I have anything on this one?
Good catch, Jim. Thanks.
On 2, I think we had the same problem on 2.
What? We're best friends for this very reason. I sucked in math.
This one's just the exact same thing on 2, where we're just using the wrong number. We get the same answer, but we're using the wrong number. The minimum scan density, second to the last line, should be 1431 divided by 4 equals 358.
Which is the same.
It's the same number.
Same fixes.
Exactly. Same number, it's just the equation is expressed incorrectly.
No, I mean, it's the same text. The same change we made to example 1.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. There, in the middle of that example 2, on page 4, there's a statement that says the target image size equals the viewing image size times 20. I can't find where that relationship is defined in a previous example where we say that the target image size equals the magnification factor times the viewing image size. And if it's not, we just need to put it in, because it's obviously right, it's just not stated.
It's got to be at the top of page 2 when you define magnification factor.
Yeah, let's look on the new on that.
And you're saying it's the ratio of the viewing image to the behind-the-scenes target image. So it's going to be a less than a 1 number. See, we're getting targets and viewing screwed up. The terminology, I think, is screwing this up, right? Because weren't you using magnification factors of 20? That would have a viewing image of 20 sizes larger than the target image.
That's what we thought last night.
No, the magnification factor is the target image size is the viewing image size times the magnification factor.
Right. How do you define the Oh, that's what you did. The viewing image size.
Okay, but in the patent pages, do we have that, Brian, somewhere? Because I looked for it and I couldn't find it.
It's page 12. The middle is where he defines magnification factor, and it's not
right.
It should be.
But I don't see it there.
Find the ratio of the target. We're going to call it the target image area.
Well, it's down the bottom. The target image size is the target image width times image size, which is equal to the
there it is. Viewing image size times magnification factor.
Right.
Okay, so then that's the one I had a problem with because we inverted those two things. So that explains that. Okay, so that's fine. Let's move on. So now, did I have anything else on examples?
And
one more
example 2. I did example
magnification
2.
factor. When you say the magnification factor it's really the maximum desired.
Forget that. That's wrong.
Isn't it? Magnification factor, Brian?
yeah,
Because magnification factor is at any zoom. What you're worried about is the maximum or deepest, right?
right.
Okay. So that's what I want to make this MMF for maximum magnification factor, okay?
Okay.
Where was that?
I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. It's really at wherever
the
MF is.
magnification factor is the maximum
desired.
magnification factor.
Always?
Yeah.
What about the minimum?
The minimum is 1.
1 plus something. Right. Okay, now
But this is what you're designing it to.
Okay, now I'm on page 5 of Brian's new thing.
Okay.
Page 5, example 3. And this minimum scan density, again, I think is wrong. We've got a target image, what is the formula again? I keep forgetting. Target image height of 1610, right?
Where?
Mm-hmm.
Example 3, 1610 divided by the source image height, which is target image height is 1610. The source image height is 5. So 1610 divided by 5
322.
is 322. So it's just the expression is consistently just reversed.
And you're on example 3 on page 5. It's the minimum scan density.
The minimum scan density equals 1610 divided by 5, which equals 322.
Okay.
What is that last? The photo scan can be any scan density greater than 321.
You can actually, as long as you
That's just
scan,
the result of everything.
as long as you scan at a higher density than that, you will never pixelate.
Since we get to this answer here, that's just his conclusion. We have to be at least 321, greater than 321 for that particular example. Of 20 zoom? Yes. That's the answer to his equation.
So what this is telling you is when you scan this image in, you've got to spend at least this density
To get that result of
to get
20.
that result.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's go to page
Finally
20
understanding the math.
in the patent filing.
Okay?
School.
And it was,
Probably going to save you a lot of time.
actually,
last night.
never mind. Mike, at the
We
bottom
said
of
we
20,
would
I
take you
understand that now.
And bring you to dinner.
I'm missing where you are.
Never mind. At the bottom of 20 where I say, really?
He's going to be pissed.
Bottom of 20.
Yeah, don't matter. I already talked to Brian. I understand completely why that is now.
Okay.
And as long as this one has the square root thing in it, which I'm sure it does, then we're fine on that example.
Yep, it does.
Okay. And
Doug, you're supposed to be picking up these square root issues.
Hey, you guys are supposed to be picking it up. Actually, I was hoping that you could work closer with Steve in the time frame we had. But I'm taking the last pass at it here, so I'm going to try and get another pass at it.
time.
And I would have done the same number exercise that you've done for us, Jim.
Can you meet me in Philadelphia Friday morning?
I think so.
This Friday, you got to know.
Well, I need to check my calendar.
Other than just checking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine. What time?
I land at, can you pick me to the airport?
Yeah.
Doug, why don't you make these changes?
Yeah, I will.
Start with this, because I think
Well, actually, I get in Philadelphia early. I get in at 8:50.
we can pick up our changes
1 o'clock.
Oh, no, I don't want to get
checks later, can't we? Well, let me give you a few more that I wasn't real sure about.
Yeah, well, what's the, what you think is the extent? If we go through page by page, you're right, it's going to be forever.
No, I just want to go through my comments real quick. If Brian has any additional, that's fine.
Okay, and remember, we can change the claim, the wording of the claim.
No, this
as
is
long
the
as
body.
it's worded.
And this is the body right here. These are minors.
Good, okay, shoot.
Okay.
Page.
Guys, out of here.
Okay, hold on. Let me get to where we left.
Thanks, Jim, if you're leaving. No, not thanks because you're leaving.
Are you
Thanks
taking
for
that?
digging into this.
I need to do the signing copy. So.
Thanks, Jim, for leaving.
He's going to catch a plane.
Hope you had better luck than I did.
Yeah, really. The weather here right now is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's what it was yesterday.
Where'd you get stranded?
Oh, it's a whole story. Is now a good time?
How long is it going to take?
What happened was I left at about 6. Everybody said, yeah, there's no problem to catch 7:25. There was a terrific traffic jam just north of the airport, bumper to bumper for miles. And it got to be like 7:10 before I was at the airport. I was flying around Lost trying to find the Avis.
Oh, dear.
Got to the bus at 7:15. Yelled at the driver, said, I got a 7:25 flight, can we do it? And he goes, I don't know. So we got in and tried it. Rushed up to, and they dropped me off at the United Gate. And I dumped off the Avis car without filling it with gas and everything, it's just getting my butt over there. And I get up to the gate, to the drop-off, and thinking, oh, man, I got to run. And so I run like crazy to get to the gate and find out, there's a whole bunch of people standing there. You don't have to run. It's been delayed. So my flight out of Fort Lauderdale to Chicago was delayed first of all, for storms. It was real bad. And then mechanical problems. There's a hydraulic switch they were replacing. And we're going, what? Okay, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, we wonder what's going on. Half the people bail out and go to Miami and fly out of there. And they keep saying, well, we don't know when it's coming. And I'm thinking, oh, crap, I'm going to miss my 10:30 connection in Chicago to go to Milwaukee. So I called and found that there was a bus. Take the bus up, take the bus down. So there was an 11:30 bus. Hey, I'm going to make this, no problem. The stupid plane didn't leave till 10:30. Till 10. Got at Chicago at 12:30. Missed the bus, missed the only connection out to Milwaukee. And I'm thinking, well, the next one's 8 in the morning, and I'll just go get a hotel. And it should be on the airline, right? So, because they made me miss my connection.
Right.
So I stood in line 45 minutes with other people that had missed their connections to try and get the hotel or their baggage lost or they sent him in a cab off to a suburban hotel, not the Hotel Hilton, no way, but some suburban hotel, sent him out there. He got there, and there was no room, so they brought him back, and now he's in line again. Talk about getting doubly screwed. So anyway, I get up to the counter, and she says, well, we can send you out to Arlington Heights. And I know the area. I grew up around there.
Right.
Arlington Heights, a hotel, and we got to get you a cab, and then we'll bring you back, and we'll pay for the hotel. And I'm saying, and when's my flight? 8:15. I got to be in there by 7:30. You're going to get me out there. And anyway, I would have gotten maybe 3 hours of sleep.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Every time you checked in.
And it was just ridiculous. So I said, what are my other options? You can find a plane fare or some damn thing. I'm pissed. And here it is in the middle of the night. So she turns around and grabs a pillow and a blanket and says, here's your other options. And everybody is just fuming, but we're all kind of taking it with a grain of salt. So the guy next to me says, oh, you get the Hotel O'Hare. And you came from gate, and you're headed over to gate B20. That's suite B20. Hotel O'Hare.
And it is, because I've done that same thing, here many a nights. Slept on my bag.
I got in here this morning I landed at 9 o'clock and drove to work at 9:30. I haven't been home.
Me and you are feeling the same.
Oh yeah, really crunchy.
Really, right. Okay, let me whip through this real quick.
Okay.
Skip the comment on top of page 9.
Skip it, okay, good.
Okay, and on the bottom of 9, and why can't these images from videos be put back into video format and then zoomed on? Why can't you take the images you captured in video, enhance them, and then put the 29 per second back in and thereby have zoomable video? And panable. You can, because a video is simply 29 images. So if we've captured the ability to do this on an image, we can create video by creating a series of 29 images per second.
Okay.
Well, it can be easily done. It can be, here's the change. On line 21, just say a single or all captured frame from the video camera may be further processed as a digital image and then reassembled back to video. Sure, you take all the frames, do what we have to.
What are you going to do with it?
You're going to enlarge them. However you do that, once you capture them. If you were just printing them, you could print the images, enlarge them, put them in a viewing window, and run that video through there and let somebody zoom in.
How do you run the video through a viewing window?
Doesn't the video have its own viewing window?
You run it through a player.
And the player has a viewing window.
And the player has a viewing window.
And now if the image is bigger than the viewing window, you'll be able to, if the picture is bigger than the set viewing image, you'll still be able to.
Picture will still be in a standard frame size of 320 by 240.
It'll be in a frame size, but the picture will be much bigger than 320 by 240.
No, but you can't be bigger than the frame size.
On a video? Why?
Because that's what you encode.
I see what you're saying. But would you be able to take the 20, and play them through? No. Okay. Scratch it.
Okay. All the stuff at the bottom of the page?
No, left side.
Just the left side?
And then still make the change on 21. A single or all captured frames from the video camera may be further processed.
But we're only talking a single frame is processed as a digital image.
So it won't matter if you do it multiple.
Yeah, but you'd just be doing singles multiple times.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Maybe we should say, no, a single is fine. I think
Is it scanning a digital enlarger to me, my thinking?
Yeah.
I just don't understand why.
Yeah, it's a digital. The way it is you change the scan date.
And that does the same thing as enlarging.
That's the effect of enlarging.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is that said here, Brian? That's correct?
Yeah. I'm still here.
Does that is effectively enlarging it?
Well, it's enlarging it because you're increasing the number of pals.
But you should say it because it confuses me.
And not only that, we may need it if we're practicing that. Are we practicing that?
Well, yeah, that was the whole point of going through the magnification factor and creating a scan density, because you've got to create a picture large enough to be what you want it to be as a target image.
Never mind.
Okay, but you see it now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I just didn't.
And to me, who doesn't understand the math of all that, it seems very strange that you take a digital image and it's achieved everything we did by blowing up optically already, and then you're still putting it in the frame and framing it right so that it works in a zoom environment. It's if I could understand the math, I'd understand it.
I know what
I understand the theory.
Brian, I know what I'm talking about.
I never questioned that.
I do all the time. No, when I'm thinking enlarging, I'm thinking of analog development enlarging,
Optically.
optically enlarging,
Yeah.
not digitally enlarging. Because are you digitally enlarging the photo when you up the scan density?
Well, let me give you what the trade-offs.
You're upping the scan density.
Yeah. If you enlarge a photograph,
Yeah.
you can scan it at a lower scan density than if you don't. Then you have to scan it at a high density to get the same result.
Exactly. So that's why I don't think that a scanner is technically an enlarger.
No, it performs a function because it has a variable scan density.
Yeah.
It allows you to vary the size of the file that's produced,
Yeah.
and the
but
size of the file is proportional to the size of the image.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
It has to be. It effectively does the same thing.
Yeah, I guess the scanner can do enlarging then, yeah.
It can produce two different size files based on the same photograph being scanned at two different densities.
Which is two different sizes. See, the brain doesn't think that. You just think 600 versus 900 just means more dots or something. Area doesn't mean they get more area.
Right.
But is it?
Well, but when you have more area, you scan at a lower density. You scan at 200 dpi versus 600 dpi.
Well, what if there's no scan, no density, the camera does it?
Then it's fixed by what the camera does.
But can you set the camera to be the enlarger?
No, you have very little control over that camera. That's when you go through the digital example.
Right.
That's what happens.
What?
You say, well, I got this digital picture, and I want to get a 20 times magnification. And you go through the math, and it says, stop. You can't get 20 times. You can only get 11.1 times.
Why?
Because you can't get more pixels in the target image than you've got in the source.
So how do you achieve 20 times?
You have to have a better digital camera.
Okay, so you can buy a better digital camera that gives you more pels for the shot.
Yeah.
And as that comes due, that's going to give us greater magnification.
Brian?
Yeah.
If you took an optical photographic, a normal enlarger on a photo, you will keep enlarging.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You'll keep enlarging until you hit the grain level of the photo.
Right.
On a scanner, you won't keep enlarging. I mean, you're going to hit the grain level of the photo, but it's going to be limited by the scanner.
Well, yeah, there are some limitations. For instance,
An optical one is never limited by the optics, right?
yes, the optics have limitations.
Well, okay, but way far.
But what happens is the scanner can't put detail into a picture where it isn't in the picture.
Yeah, doesn't.
So you can take a snapshot, for instance, and try to scan it at 1,000 dpi, but it won't look any better than if it were scanned at 150 dpi, because that's all the the information there is on the image that you can resolve.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you have been destroyed by the processes in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take a transparency, and the original source transparency, whether it be a positive or a negative, you can scan that at a very high density, and you can get every bit of information that there is to be obtained by increasing the scan density, assuming that you have a scanner which is capable of that.
There's no limitations. Yeah, you're right.
So should we say all that?
And the math is saying it.
Yeah.
You just have to sit back and think about it.
Okay, that's good.
That's why
you're
the math,
right. It would be a good thing to say if you could.
That's why the math is there.
Yeah, but Brian, if you can say that in English, it would be even better. If you could, after we cut the phone call, if you wanted to jot yourself a note.
Well, my brain doesn't work very well in English.
Let's do an English American or English British. Let's define it. Let's go right here and define that. Because that is important.
Okay, so what we're saying is that by increasing the scan density, it's effectively well, first of all, what is it actually doing? It's more data or pixels per image, and which lets you zoom, which will let you magnify deeper or more.
Well, let's back it up. What we want is a large enough. Our objective is to get a large enough digital image file to permit the zooming and panning at the desired magnification to take place.
Mm-hmm.
There are two ways to obtain that size file. One is by enlarging photographically and scanning at a relatively low density, or by if the source image is of sufficient precision, to scan at a high density to create the same size file.
Mm-hmm. But wait, you don't scan if it's digital. If you have a digital file, you're not.
Well, let's see, you got to clarify two things: scanning and digitally shooting the photograph with the right specs.
When you scan, you create a digital file. Alternatively, you have a digital camera, which gives you a fixed file size.
Although later in the future, you should be able to do inside the digital camera what you're doing with the scanner. And create, when you get a good enough pel count, so to speak, right?
But it's technically not scanning if the digital file is coming directly from the camera is what he was trying to get across.
But
it's creating a size.
Huh?
But the end result is to have a file which is sufficiently large. The file of an image, when expressed in pels, has a large enough area, to allow you to zoom into the image and obtain the desired level of magnification.
Without pixelating. Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. And now, when we were talking about a scanner essentially being an enlarger, when I think of a scanner, I think of analog to digital. It's taking optical and digitizing it. It's doing the capturing.
Right, but
On a digital camera, the CCD is doing the capturing,
which is an array.
which is a scanner. I see what you're
It
saying.
is a scanner. Now,
Right.
but what
Well, is the scan density number that you're spitting out for your HV scanner, or to go buy a new the proper?
no, you can control the scan
digital camera yet.
Yeah, sure. Now you can go from 300 DPI to 600 DPI.
Not a digital camera.
Sure, on my digital camera, I can set it to 300 for low res, to high to 600.
But that's, when you do that,
Right,
you're getting a JPEG.
right.
But if
Or
you,
bitmap.
but it doesn't give you both bitmaps. I think it only gives you one bitmap. If you look at it, it only gives you one bitmap, which is your maximum density.
Well, the highest 600 is a bitmap.
It's bitmap,
The other one's a
300 is a
JPEG.
JPEG. That's right. That's absolutely right. But
Well,
there's only one.
what does it mean?
But there's only one bitmap. You can only get one bitmap size out. Even the new Nikon 990 only gives you one size bitmap.
It does.
The terminology for but let's look.
Okay.
On page 17, you said?
Yeah. Do we need to say bitmap on line 2?
Oh, well, we say either in something. Well, actually, this is too restrictive. We should say the enhanced digital image files provided to the server in a digital image format, digitized as a digital file or something, right?
Right.
I mean, we and then say, for example, a bitmap or JPEG or something, right?
Right, because we don't know what the next image file will be.
But the point is, it's in a digitized. Brian, can we digitized format as opposed to vector-based format?
No.
No. How come?
Because the vector-based format is also a digital format.
No, I said digitized.
Oh.
That's why in some of the claims, I don't know if you caught it, I use the word digitized image. To me that means pixelated or bitmapped or...
Well, if you take a line drawing and you digitize it,
Oh, I see what you're saying. You could say the 2 points in the front. Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So it depends on the process that you use for digitizing it. If you use a scanner, you will certainly create a bitmap.
Bitmap is generic. Is it generic?
No.
Is JPEG a bitmap?
No.
What's the generic term for digitized as opposed to vector-based? That's what I was trying to get to with digitized image.
Well, the problem is pixel-based.
There are a number of bitmap formats.
Yeah. Like dot matrix or...
Like the but they are bitmaps.
How about pixel-based format?
Is a...
Compressed or uncompressed?
Yeah, you can say pixel-based. That's good.
Pixel-based, yeah.
Yeah, that works fine.
That's excellent, yeah.
Compressed or uncompressed?
That works fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep that change consistent wherever it applies.
Well, actually, sometimes I don't, Elliot.
Wherever it applies.
Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes I'll deliberately use a different term because I find out that,
We can cover all of it.
yeah, or I didn't really, or I'll use a different term in the claim and then have the option of arguing, well, it meant a little bit different. So that's because I didn't...
However you feel best to protect me on that.
Pardon?
However you feel best to protect us on that.
Okay.
17, going into 18. Since the number of pixels is not reduced during compression, which I agree, the compression serves to preserve image resolution. No, compression serves to decrease image resolution.
No.
Compression does not do that. Explain that to me.
No. Here's a tricky one. It's in my notes.
thought you said chicken sandwich. What?
You can, in the compression step, there are a number of options that you have to tailor the configuration process, the compression process. You can give the compressor a target for how much compression you want. You can also specify to the compression program the size of the compressed image. And that's important because what you do with the image sizing program, the image sizing program will tell you what the size of the compressed image should be to create the target image. And therefore you instruct the compressor to create a compressed image of that size. Because remember you had a minimum scan density?
Mm-hmm.
Typically you will scan at a higher density than the minimum scan density. Maybe 10%, maybe 20%. So now you have to take that digital file and create a file which is equal to the target image. And you do that by telling the compression program that's what you want. If you didn't have a compression program, then you would take the you would try to scan as close to the minimum scan density as you could, so as to not create a bigger target file, a target image than you needed.
Okay, now, I totally understand that. But he then says, a compression serves to preserve image resolution. Is that a true statement?
Mm-hmm.
Thereby providing an optimum enhanced digital image. Optimum is no compression.
Well, depends what you mean.
Well, do you see that? Look at
You may be optimizing file size.
But then that needs to be defined here. You follow that, Doug?
Yeah.
So by optimum, we're really meaning optimum file size here.
Yeah. Since the number of pixels is not the number of pixels is not actually reduced, doesn't it?
No, actually, if you size it, they are reduced.
Number specify a smaller number, yes. What you're really trying to do is optimize the file size at the appropriate number of pixels.
But the number of pixels changes when you JPEG it? I mean, when you compress it, or JPEG?
No, when you compress it and resize it.
It's optional.
If you're compressing by resizing, you've lowered the pixel count. If you're compressing one-to-one, you haven't.
Oh, okay.
You follow? So Brian's saying you might have a large image and the compressor says, what do you really need here? Let's get rid of some color. Do you need all this extra side and height and width? And if not, it does all that for you. Lowers, makes a smaller picture, thereby reducing pixel count and providing a less than optimum enhanced digital image.
Well, help me figure out what that sentence should say.
I'd struck the whole frickin' sentence, to be honest with you.
That sounds fine with me. Will we ever need the concept that we preserve the number of pixels, at least at the one-to-one?
No.
Through the
No.
compression?
No. This compression is optional. You know what I mean?
Okay, scratch the damn sentence.
Yeah, okay, good.
Good.
Because I see that we can explain all this.
Yeah.
I would just leave it right after be set to other compression factors.
Yep, absolutely. That's it. And that's the end of the sentence. The next
Right, exactly.
end of the paragraph.
Exactly.
user interface or control data is associated with the enhanced digital image file, if necessary, may already be on the user computer.
You got it.
But it's still associated,
Yeah.
even if it is on his computer. So that, in this sense, you might be right here. Because you still need to associate the control data user interface with the picture. So that's true.
Okay.
So I'll move your comment down to clarify it later.
Okay, and the only other thing is right after you say on line 6, graphic user interface on display 30 upon loading. Forget downloading and just put loading of the image.
Okay.
Doug?
Yep.
I can give you the wording that I used. The bottom of page 17.
Yeah.
In place of that last sentence, which spills over, I said the target image dimensions can be set as parameters for compression, thus ensuring an optimum enhanced digital image.
One more time. The target image.
The target image dimensions can be set as parameters for compression, thus ensuring an optimum enhanced digital image.
But are we optimizing? What are we optimizing?
File size here.
The file size.
And then we're getting the maximum image quality and minimum file size.
For what we need to achieve. That's right. That's fine. Because that's assuring compression use.
Hold on. Thus ensuring optimum quality and file size?
Yeah. You're not ensuring any optimum quality by compressing. You're actually decreasing quality at that point.
That's right. So thus ensuring an optimum compressed file size?
Yes. Compressed file to image size, right?
No, file size.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And that does say it, by the way. Okay. Now, go down to line 8. Image file such that the user interface program is associated with the enhanced digital image file such that the combined, take out a download of,
Okay.
the combined files, plural, by computer 28 will the combined file or files. Because
Oh, it's not combined if it's file.
well, no, it could be three files or it could be all packaged into the image file someday. We don't know.
Yeah, well, I got to define that better when we hit the claims, because I'm thinking about not, we're claiming that the end product is a file, an enhanced digital file, and then we get lost in the mucky-muck when we say, what are we really providing? We're providing a JPEG and an applet.
Well,
A file.
well, we don't have to provide. They just need to combine somehow.
Yeah,
We don't need to provide all the elements.
yeah. The ultimate thing that we provide may not be a file, an enhanced digital image file. Maybe does it have to be a file?
With the enhanced digital signal?
Data
Data?
or signal?
Yeah, okay, so make that global change. That's fine. And it doesn't have to be a file necessarily.
No.
Well, it would have to be digital data, though. It
Right.
can't be an analog signal.
That's true.
So I don't need the word signal.
But you might not have to save it as a file at some point in life.
Data incorporates if it's a signal or not, because the data would be on the signal, right?
Perfect.
So I don't need signal, because I don't want to go analog on people.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand. The combined files by computer 28 will automatically launch the graphic user interface. It doesn't have to automatically, but
Okay,
it can.
Okay, can.
Right. Decompress the digital image data and display a portion of the digital image data within a viewing window, having a predetermined viewing size.
Okay.
Correct? But putting in a portion of data. Or is it? Yeah.
Well, actually, when it comes up,
Right.
it tries to present the whole image.
But in those virtual tours,
That's right.
right. So we want to say a portion of, or the entire, or a portion thereof.
seamless word there, but I don't want it.
Don't want seamlessly, huh?
No, but you say to or from a host computer on line 11, a web server, a website, or a web page.
Mm-hmm.
TV. I don't know if you want to throw it in there.
I'm lost where we are in terms of the flow.
Page 1911.
We're in figure 3, describing the flow chart of figure 3.
Right.
Which is what? Which is... Oh, great. Is that what that said? Oh, it's not a flow chart. It's the image. Figure 3 is an image. Figure... Referring to figure 3, an exemplary screen print is this. Once the user interface is the resulting image ready for uploading to a network server projection.
Well, that was another one of my things. The resulting image can be uploaded to a network server.
Yeah, the whole thing, Elliot, and that, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt because all over the place, this is the description of the preferred embodiment.
Okay.
Just like the background
Just what we did, that's fine.
stuff, this is really preferred.
I know, you see what I'm doing now.
Yeah, no, and that's good because that makes me want to support it more so I can broaden the claims or
Gotcha.
go somewhere with the claims.
Gotcha.
So technically, Steve's correct by saying uploading because it's his preferred embodiment.
Right.
But I usually say can be or is or maybe, and he doesn't like to say preferably. But I do. It's just a semantic.
No problem. Go down to line 19. And it should be the result of a download upload.
So what's
The result of loading the enhanced digital image to a user computer would be the right way to say it.
Yeah.
Just say take out the down, put it to loading.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, same thing to the network server. If you load it to the computer 22, it's providing it to a network server. I don't like this loading.
Yeah, I don't. It's very tight on us.
Yeah. And it infers uploading and downloading.
I agree.
I don't want directions. But again, he's right because in the preferred embodiment.
That's fine, as long as later we clarify and make sure we're protected on all these issues.
A download of the enhanced digital image file to a user computer.
And that's true in the preferred embodiment.
Download over the internet.
What?
What he means.
He what?
He means download off the internet.
Well, it could be an intranet. It could be...
The network, download off the network is what he means.
Right.
But isn't it a download off the network? Because when you put something on a network, you upload to the network and download from the network. So he's right, but
Yeah, you see the issue.
okay, doesn't have to be. I agree.
Correct. Okay. Okay, and I've got that next one covered. Go now to page 20. Okay, got a big problem here. Program loads additional digital image data from the enhanced digital file. Scratch image stored in a memory, for example, hard drive, and just say, program loads additional digital image data from the enhanced digital file to the display viewing window by providing additional data from the source to the viewing area seamlessly or something. Or just make it a period after display viewing window.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
To the
To the user display viewing window.
viewing window. Period.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't.
Any of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The user computer provides a zoom. Oh, to provide a zoom to view.
Oh, excuse me.
Holy smokes. Wow, this, read the paragraph starts out in figure 4, which is this, which is figure 4. Take a look at, we're about ready to zoom, or we have zoomed. He has, the user has actuated the zoom buttons to zoom in to the digital image data.
What line are you on?
Page 19 in the bottom.
Page 19
digital image, period. I don't want to say data, right?
Right.
In response, the user interface program, which is the applet, loads additional digital image data. Yeesh, I don't like the loads, because that says it might be loading it off the network.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's not.
Additional program.
Provides
Yeah, because it's providing it from the enhanced digital file.
data from the enhanced digital image file
Right.
to
To the user's display viewing window.
and then to provide a zoomed, a magnified view of the digital image, or zoomed. I like the word zoomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I would like to say is provides additional image data from the enhanced digital image file. I would say, comma, without. I want to make the clarification there that
Without additional,
without another download from the network.
no.
We may not need it here if it's there before, but that's my. I may have to.
Put a question mark there, because
Yeah.
I see it too.
Why can't you say, why can't you relate it to resolution? Provides additional image resolution data. Because you're increasing the resolution of what the image
As you're zooming.
as you're zooming.
That's actually a great way to describe the whole goddamn thing.
Now he tells me about it.
No, but what we've been looking to describe, he just did.
No, I agree. Steve and I had this battle too, because you guys were
Struggling.
consistent in the terminology either.
Right.
No, I agree. If you're talking length times, numbers of pixels, that is resolution.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're providing additional resolution data.
That doesn't sound right to me, Brian. A digital resolution.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're taking a portion of the image and you're expanding it really with additional pixels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's additional resolution data.
Oh, I see.
Right.
But what you're saying is it's an adjective. It's digital data that has an image encoded with enhanced resolution. Because what are you providing? You're not providing resolution. You're providing data.
Data that is necessary for the resolution.
But it's pixel-based data.
Uh-huh. And since it's pixel-based data, it will,
Or additional data for higher resolution.
yeah, you're getting warm. Yeah.
See, what's happening
Vortex.
is that, put it in discrete terms, you're going from a case where you have many source pixels per viewing window pixel, and you're reducing that ratio as you zoom in
Right. Until you hit the pixelation limit.
until you hit 1:1.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can patch that up.
That's why you're providing additional.
We got a lot of clean talking about to do still, so let's move on. You're at line 15 now on page 20.
Greater than 2 times. Or greater than.
Digital camera. Step 102, the digital camera is configured to acquire a digital image. In this step, the camera is, I would say, preferably set to the highest resolution.
I think in principle, that's what we would intuitively do. But the question is, should we generalize on that?
Yeah, there will be variations of that.
Because as technology evolves...
Right. You set the camera to acquire at least enough pixels for the magnification. It's
For the magnification factor.
Right.
Right.
This high resolution.
Right, you wouldn't get more even if there's higher resolution available.
Yeah, but that's not what he's getting at here.
See, we don't have cameras that gives us very much flexibility here today, but tomorrow we'll have more flexibility.
Yeah. In this step, if possible, the camera is set to acquire at least enough pixels.
Well, you don't set the camera... This is a fine point. The camera has a storage device.
Yeah.
It always takes the same number of pixels. It's what it stores that count.
Yeah. Does the user have any clue what that is? So in other words, how would I know that my camera will do a magnification of 20 on this file?
You don't.
What it tells you is you create a high resolution picture or a low resolution picture, and that if you set it to high, you only get a few pictures per whatever your storage medium is.
But I'll bet you later the camera will come out with dial in your zoom feature
It could
for this picture.
Yeah.
And boom, it'll size it appropriately.
In fact, they're already saying if you set it at this setting, it's equal to an 8 by 10. If you set it at this setting, it's a 5 by 7.
Which is doing what we're doing.
Catch
them right there.
That's already happening.
Right, but catch them, because I doubt it was happening in the past.
Wasn't.
Right, so it's new camera technology that might be infringing already. Which, I see it going in the scanner, all these things. Having, sooner or later, Brian, if what you said yesterday was correct, that this is all new, the ability to do it, will apply to every single facet of imaging. That you now have a zoom factor. Why wouldn't you apply it to every facet? Mm-hmm. Okay.
It tripped up though that since I'm not an expert in the camera art, or it might have been done and for a different purpose, and if our claim reads on it.
Okay, but what if it was done for a different purpose and we have a different purpose?
If our claim reads on what was done, and it would...
Well, it wasn't done, because I can...
if our camera already had the capability of providing this file, and our claim says providing this file, we're in trouble.
So optionally do it. Make it independent.
The secretary's saying we got to get the checks today.
Okay, but definitely cover that, because that's what's going to happen.
In the future, to set the camera.
No, that's happening. But according to Brian, it's happening right now as we speak. So definitely get it in here.
Set the camera, if possible, to the desired magnification or density, scan density.
Correct. To create the maximum zoom factor. Right. Okay. Okay, claim 1 we dealt with. Not providing, we're going to make on line 2. This is a dependent claim now.
I'm sorry, I lost you again. You're on...
I'm on page 24, claim 1, third paragraph of it, providing...
Skip some more math, Brian?
Beg pardon?
Did he skip some more math?
We went back, we just skipped over it. We'd already done it.
I've never had a great Jim's math.
Okay, 22, is that what
Nor Brian's. I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with Brian's whole grasp of the situation of the math here.
Oh, the analysis is great.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It helps me understand it.
Yeah. Are we on 22, Elliot?
It does. We're on 24.
I got scribbles on 22. Do we not worry about... Oh, these aren't your scribbles. Okay.
Right.
I'll play with that. 23, you have... Are you...
24.
24, got it. One.
Get rid of the size at least twice.
Yep, we'll do the greater than...
Providing on line 8 becomes a dependent claim. Why do we have 10 times 100 times?
Because because if, again, the prior art happens to do it at 2 times, but they do it...
Well, then you should do 10, 11, 12.
Our claim 1 is gone.
But then you should do 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, up to an infinite number.
Well, here's the theory, and this is how dependent claims work, and here's the analysis that we go through. If claim 1 now says greater than 1, okay, if anybody is doing it at greater than 1, then claim 1 will fall. It's dead.
Okay.
Okay, if anybody's done it before, your priority date before you. Now, we move to claim 2. Has anybody done it at least 10 times, or at least twice will be my next claim, and then
Right.
Okay?
That's where you get your at least twice in here.
Exactly.
At 2 points.
Oh, if the guy didn't do it at least twice, is there a good reason? Did he really not have the same invention? Well, hell yes, he didn't have the same invention.
That's right.
But it just so happened that he did more than one. My claim 1 is dead, and I can now jump to claim 2, which is at least 2. That's how dependent claims work in the... that's why I have dependent claims there, because you can't modify claims once they're issued.
Right.
The reason I have that Steve had all those goofy 100s and 200s and 300s in the spec is because during prosecution we can amend the claims, and you might need, and if the prior art comes out of the woodwork during prosecution, you might have to go say, oh, well, we didn't mean that. We meant above 100 or above 200.
Gotcha.
So it's putting in support.
Gotcha. Line or claim 6, a single data file could be 2 files, 3 files, 4 files, 28
Right.
files. Right.
Well, but what is the I like that claim.
Well, it could be in the digital image file, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, but without the claim,
It says you have now the ability to integrate everything into a single
One
file,
file.
and you hold that packet.
and you see, claim 6.
No, got it in one file.
Right.
The image file with an applet built into each image.
I'm on that.
Oh, beautiful.
Take some time to work on it.
I got it. The method of claim 6 when the user interface is a Java applet. Why limited to Java? There are other forms that can do this.
It's already in there. It's already in. It says in the very first claim.
Okay, providing which is now going to be a dependent claim.
It's providing a user interface configured to display the digital image.
Okay, which is dependent.
Now, this then further says, okay, and it may be in Java applet.
Right, okay.
It further narrows it up.
Right, okay.
Okay, so
Now, there are other things we could name there. Plug in.
it's only limited
ActiveX.
if you enforce that claim, and if the guy infringes that claim. If it's not a Java applet, this claim won't do you any good. If it is a Java applet that the infringer uses, then you get to not only throw 2 claims or 3 claims at him.
What if it's ActiveX?
Yeah, that brings up a good point. There's another technology which is called ActiveX,
Wonderful.
which only works with Windows.
Okay.
But
Well, does the idea about, can you genericize that to say it's a data code segment? What's an applet? It's a small applications program, right?
Right.
Well, let's say that.
Okay.
Or I could just say an applet.
You could say an ActiveX.
A Java applet, ActiveX applet, or other...
You want a separate claim.
Right.
Each one should be a separate claim.
Right.
Well, I can play games, but it's funny. What I'd have to do is say, where in the user interface is one of the following, Java or ActiveX.
Okay. Or other.
No, I can't say other in a claim.
Can you do other in a new claim?
Nope. The word other is indefinite in a claim.
Already covered it.
In frame 1, because it's any user interface.
Yeah, other is claimed in...
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Further comprising, compressing, that's optional, right?
Yeah.
Everything here is dependent, it's optional.
Right.
Okay, to a network server, how about to a set-top box?
Is that worth a separate dependent?
Absolutely, it's one of the raging things coming down the pipe.
Okay, set-top box. Can you give me an example of a today's technology set-top box that this will work? And then tell me on figure 1.
Well, we just happen to know, there's development activities that are going on in a number of different companies, and
Well, but
they're heading in this direction.
yeah, but I can't. But your claims have to be buildable by somebody at ordinary skill in the art. If
You
you
would be
just
able to.
Yeah.
set-top box,
Right.
Sure.
tried it.
That's just a display system.
Web TV is an example of a set-top box.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Set-top box that takes streaming information and presents it on a TV screen.
So what is a cable box sitting on my mom's TV? That it's just a cable box goes to your VCR on your TV. That's not a set-top box.
That is a set-top box. It's a very simple one.
Yeah, it doesn't have a display on it. You use your TV.
It uses your TV, but the newer ones all have computers in them and memory,
Yeah.
And convert.
and it can convert different formats.
Right, but the set-top box itself doesn't have a video display. It has a
No, it uses the TV as a
Yeah.
And then say TV.
which is web TV, which is a
So
example of
put in a TV claim.
cable box. I don't have time to go look at claims right now.
Okay.
We're going to be crunched to get this on file tonight.
Okay.
Okay. So my question again: can you point? Give me you did web TV. Is
Right.
that manufactured by who? Or is it in there already?
Microsoft has a web TV,
And web.
and Dell had a web TV. They just pulled it off the market.
Okay.
But these are primitive. The web TV is a primitive form of what's coming.
I know. I need. But you can't patent what's coming unless you give an example of what you can build today.
Well, like web TV.
Good. And I wanted to find out where that was in. Do you remember where that? I'll find it later.
Okay. On page 26, line...
I'm not through with this.
Oh, no problem. Where do we go back to?
Okay, back to a comment that I made earlier, Doug. The advantage of Claim 1 is it applies to enhanced digital files which are not compressed. And we have to make a provision as a dependent claim for transmitting over a network. Because the one that provides for transmitting over a network is tied to a compressed file.
True, but it's I'm sorry. What Steve is doing here in see Claim 8 is there's the compression hanging on Claim 1. So now if you do compression, and so you can throw Claim 8 and Claim 1 at him. And if you do it over a network, if you upload it to a network server, now you can throw Claim 9 and 8.
Right, but it doesn't...
As long as network server, no, it's uploading but it would have to be compressed then because it's dependent. Oh, this is the one you talked about before?
Right.
I'm sorry. So you need number 9 dependent on 1.
Right.
Thank you. That's what we talked about yesterday.
Okay.
Whichever day that was, my days are all figured out now.
Comment. That was it.
Yes.
Okay. 26, line 6, least twice greater than 1.
Line 26 on what?
Page 26, line 6.
Of the what claim? See the claim
13.
Line 6 of claim 13. Oh, the least twice.
Greater than.
Now, okay. I don't remember. Do we have a picture claim? Meaning an independent claim that's fairly narrow that reads on your preferred embodiment in your product? We should. Because that may be what we have to go with. Because now that we've, here's my thinking, and this is what Steve and I discussed this ad nauseum here. We were going to go with Claim 1 in the EPO. The reason is we're filing a PCT application now, and a U.S. claims are cheap and free, and not free, but they're cheap, and they take multiple claims in the PCT and in the U.S. But when we split to Europe, they don't like multiple claims. They will give you one apparatus and How do I explain this? If you have your best claim, our claim one now is kind of reaching over our product that we really know that we're comfortable with what we can get, and your product with what you can get is too narrow because somebody might modify it. What I usually do in Europe is go somewhere in the middle to get something that's broad enough to cover your product, but still in a real-world application and not try and claim the world, because you don't get that many times you don't get that much leeway to amend in Europe. If I threw in one,
is this to the least twice versus greater than one?
If there's little or no chance that an infringer is going to not do at least two, that will buy you some.
There are chances where it might not be.
Yeah, but what's the chance that prior art is going to come out of the woodwork?
None, because
no, there's a very good chance that prior art is going to come out of the woodwork and blow all
between 1 and 2.
It's possible.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't. If that's the case, and somebody else beat us to the punch, we should have a claim that takes us all the way from greater than 1. If you don't want to box me into that statement, just make it a claim.
Okay, so you're saying that we would file the broadest idea in Europe. Well, we'll discuss that later when Europe rolls around.
Okay.
But that was why I did. The practice is to do different claims of varying scope and different formats.
Okay. On 15, claim 15, moving, is that panning?
Yes.
Okay. Plurality, Jim didn't like it because it means at least 2.
Jim didn't like it.
Yeah, that's his note.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what it means.
Okay.
And I put there. That's the whole point of claim 16, which is dependent on 14, which is dependent on 13. Are you with me?
Yep.
You're down in the mud now, and plurality may be the thing that saves your butt.
Okay.
Because your product does these, right?
Yes.
Your preferred embodiment product does these.
Okay, and then my only last question was, can you throw something in to cover the game world? That specifically relates to gaming and flight simulation.
How would we do this?
Well, because you'd be able to now use games differently, and you definitely can use flight simulators differently.
Okay, look at figure 1, Elliot.
Yep.
What changes? Just the definition of what 28 is, right?
Figure 21. The display monitor, the display system is what you're saying?
No, figure 1. I'm sorry, there's a figure there. What changes when you go to games and flight simulators?
Well, because those displays, because the displays become now dependent on parameters of the game or the flight simulator that drive the display window.
That's fine, but there's nothing structurally here that changes other than the user computer has now the flight simulator program or a game program on it, right?
And what happens is the user interface actually becomes an application-driven interface.
Right.
That's probably the key difference. And the question is, can we convert that user-driven interface to an application-driven interface?
Meaning like a flight simulator program.
Absolutely.
So that what is displayed is under control of a program and not under control of the user.
Right, because you see, you don't want the pilot maybe to be able to do a nosedive. You might want him to be flying along and have a program that says, shock him, make him dive, make all the graphics.
Well, but the program knows where he is and therefore moves the display according to where he is and what he's doing.
Right.
So it's
under the control of the computer application of its own, as opposed to. I see. So basically, the whole it's not a network anymore. It basically doesn't fall into figure 1.
Well,
tie me to a network.
Figure 1, Figure 1 ties you to a network as your preferred embodiment.
Okay.
This will be what's on your, probably on your,
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's on a network or not.
Okay, as long as that's true.
Yeah.
That's fine.
What we want is to make sure that what we call the user interface in here can also be a computer-based application interface.
Okay, well, in order to do that, we got to stick a claim on it, or we have to put support in the spec now to do that. So what would we do? All I see that we do...
Well, you could broaden user interface.
Yeah. Well, we'll broaden the definition of user interface in the claim.
And then I throw in a quick claim that says those two things as examples of it.
Good idea.
Okay? And we'll let you get to rewriting.
Hang on a second, don't go away. Broaden the user interface. To have it control of either the server computer or the user computer, right?
Correct.
And when we do that, that really then lays right on top of that disclosure that we had talked about. Because one of the items that I wanted to accomplish was to be able to control the display from the computer itself or from an application rather than from the user. Remember that?
Rather than from the user, meaning, yeah, sure. And in this example, the flight simulator application program would control the zoom and pan of the display.
Yes.
But that means you still provided a digital, claim 1 would be fine, that somebody at some time provided a digital image file.
Yes.
Viewing on a computer.
Right.
So claim 1 would catch that.
Claim 1, as long as the user interface
Well, that's going to be a dependent claim.
can be expanded to include
Either a downloaded applet,
a program interface.
Any program.
Right. Right. And we don't have to say where the program resides.
Yeah.
Right, because that you definitely, in this world, gaming wouldn't know where the
Right.
Because now multiple users can access one central game.
Right.
Great thought, guys. Okay.
I always save some of the, for your last minute works.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I got, an hour here, so what's the problem? Brian, let's talk about the definitions of source, target, and all that other garbage, because I got confused in that, Jim got confused. It's in the spec. Steve did that. Do you know what page it's on? Because they're all over my desk.
Yeah, it starts at,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm done, right?
yeah.
Doug,
Starts at 11.
can you send me a copy of that? When do you think you'll be sending out a final copy?
What is your, boy, it's going to take me hours now.
Yeah, I know.
And worst case, I would say, I could send you a draft at 8 o'clock, something like that.
Okay, perfect.
Now, are you going to be there tonight?
You
Email
just
it or what? Well, I'll email it to you if you want to. That's easiest.
email it, then we're going to need some prints, right? Some signed copies?
No. All you have to do is
Is verbally. Okay,
is
good.
that this is your invention, and when you go to read it next time and sign the declaration,
Right.
that you won't make any changes to the spec, and that was your invention, the date that we filed it. That's a little grammatical.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can send one to me at my home.
And send one to Jim.
But do you guys want another pass tonight?
A what?
Do you want another pass at it? Do you want to reread it?
I do.
Okay.
I absolutely will reread the changes so that I'll have Jim reread them, and by 9:30, hopefully, we'll be done reading it and be done.
Okay, I'll see what I can do to push this through then.
Cool.
So...
Hopefully, it'll just be a reread and we'll say it's right.
Yeah.
But, and if something jumps
Okay, so
out,
how do I get it to you? Do you want me to fax it, or I want to email it? That's quicker for me.
great, email it.
To who, where, when?
Elliot at iviewit.com, Brian at iviewit.com, and Jim at iviewit.com.
So send it to me
Hold on, let me just turn this down.
That, and you're hoping about the TV is a set-top box doing that same function. It acts as a scan converter so that you can display on a raster display device a pixel-based image.
Okay, well, I wanted to start out by just making that comment because I think as we go through this, we just need to be sensitive to how it's stated, so that in certain areas, let's make sure that it's stated in the way that Brian just indicated. And
let's talk about that a little bit more up front here. Brian, can you give me when you say a display displays a raster, not pixels, a display of a TV display versus a monitor, or both?
Both. They operate at different frequencies. They have different scanning characteristics, but basically they are quite similar. And in fact, the very early monitors were TV screens.
Okay. Well, the reason that we focused on pixels, sorry the pun, is because we needed to draw a line in the sand where we said something went icky.
Well, the technology is pixel-based. There isn't any question about that.
Is there any other, he's right, pixels, schmixels, is there any other way to draw that line in the sand? And just use pixels as one embodiment, and is there a way to define the way you would pre-pack an image when it's going to be displayed on a TV or on a display in terms of raster? Or anything else that you can think of. What we're doing is pre-packing sufficient information so that no two picture elements, whatever the heck they are displaying the same piece of information, right?
Right. Well, of course, the trap is as soon as you get into the digital world, you're basically in a bit image format, unless you use a more complex method, which basically is you describe.
Which is vector-based.
Which is vector-based, where you describe line segments as vectors, but that's very, very, very much more complex, and it does not lend itself at all to the kind of imagery that we're dealing with here. It just doesn't work.
And it wouldn't pixelate, obviously, when you magnify it.
Oh, we have other problems.
But you'd have other problems, right?
We have other problems.
But we're not worried about covering vector-based systems in this invention, right?
But should we limit ourselves? We don't limit ourselves either, do we?
I'm thinking that a court could hold that you are, yeah, because we're talking pixels all over the place. We've defined some of the claims in terms of how to draw that line in the sand in terms of number of pixels versus what's displayed versus what's pre-packed in. And maybe the whole string of claims wouldn't make sense unless you were talking in terms of pixels or picture elements. Maybe we don't have the word pixel in every claim, but my point is that...
And is there any way to do it vector-based?
Yeah, is there a generic way? Well, I'm not sure you want to do it vector-based because now we can't draw the line in the sand with respect to...
I was thinking of separate filing if there was a way.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of... you brought up a good point. We're thinking pixels or a digitized image. Technically, a photograph is grains.
Right.
Is there a grain-based quality factor that we can tap onto? Not really.
No, not really. I think the closest, the part of that plays is when you do the enlargement of the source photo image.
Now, maybe we should talk data elements. Is there a...
That's the word I liked versus I use data, additional data.
Yeah, but this is now...
you don't reduce different formulas. You can't
No,
create a
I
formula
understand
with
that.
data.
I understand
the
that.
prior art school.
But we could use data elements with pixels being an exemplary method for using data elements. Here's
AutoCAD works on a vector-based system. CAD programs are typically vector-based.
But does the concept of your invention of pre-picking the number of picture elements so you can zoom it and pan it, does that have anything to do with vector-based systems?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it really doesn't. Vector-based systems don't play here, and I don't think the data elements buy you a thing.
I think it could buy you trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. We
It's a
just
good
didn't
thought. I'm
know.
trying to broaden it, and we'll keep that in mind.
Well, my question is, so does this cover if you could do it on a TV through a set-top box?
And I thought it did until...
That's what I was after, was instead of, I didn't know if a pixel is involved in a TV,
Not in a direct sense.
in the display sense, though.
Explain that to us.
Because we here,
I
I
think
can
there's
put
a
the
distinction
like we
between...
do in a conference room.
Yeah, but I told you that. What you do,
And more color.
everything is carried up to a scan converter, which is simply a translation medium to translate from pixels into a raster.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so you can display on a laptop, and then it's direct mapping, pixel for pixel.
Right. Or you can convert it to whatever you want.
Right. That's right. You can convert it to NTSC or your PAL or CCAM or
Any
HDTV.
out there. Right. Or any display.
I think as
What about a game?
I think as we look through this, we've
Does
said
that cover a game that you
said that
could
it needs
drive?
to be.
Okay.
We said that it needs to be
any kind of a display device.
in its invention. It's a calculation based on pixels, and we just need to be careful that the way this is worded doesn't preclude us from displaying it on a non-pixel-based system.
No, that's what he just said.
I know,
Because
but I'm
it's
just
being
saying
converted
in the
by
wordage
pixel.
here, because we ran into it a number of times. As we all look at it together, let's just be cognizant of that.
Yeah, absolutely. When we go through, we'll all keep an eye out for it. But when you say a non-pixel-based system is a raster system, I really don't agree with that. A raster is derived from the picture elements, right?
From the pixels.
Right.
That's what Brian just said.
Yeah.
So we can convert the pixels to any display medium we want.
Yeah, but even if you look at when we get to some of the claims, when you look at the resolution of the monitors, they talk about pixels.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about a little
Yeah,
bit.
Because what they're referencing when they talk about pixels on a monitor, they're really referencing the scan buffer that scans it out to the monitor, and it's not a representation of the inherently within the monitor itself.
Oh, okay.
The monitor has no pixels, but the monitor has a shadow mask,
Right.
which depending on the monitor technology, whether it's a Sony or non-Sony. Sony has an aperture grille, but they have a dot matrix, three-color dot matrix, which has no direct connection with a bit.
Oh, really? No association to the pixel elements coming in?
None whatsoever. Standard TV tube, a 17-inch TV tube has a dot spacing of 0.049 inches, and a good display tube has got one at down around 0.26, 27, 28, 0.027, 26,
Good ones are even lower now, too.
and for higher resolution, but it's what is visually higher resolution, not necessarily what your
You're absolutely right, because
what your scan buffer has.
you don't turn the screen, the gun on and off for each pixel.
Right. It's a continuous beam scan,
Right.
and you're modulating the beams.
So I think you're right. The best we can do is keep that in mind when we talk about the language to converting this over to television display stuff.
On this page, I did have an additional comment on line 18 and 19,
Okay.
where we talk about ideal image quality requiring a minimum of bandwidth or a minimum bandwidth for transmission. And all we're saying here is, instead of a limited bandwidth, but it works regardless of the bandwidth, but it has less demand on bandwidth.
Okay.
But let me ask ask you this. Let's take bandwidth out of the equation and just say you play our image off your hard drive. It's still cool. Still has all the features we're patenting. Why do I even care about a limited bandwidth? Why do I care that that statement be there at all?
Do you have any knowledge that,
No, I have no knowledge that in prior art you could play it off your hard drive any differently. People did not say to me, oh, what you did's cool because you can play it over network. They said, it's cool whether I play it off my hard drive. And by the way, in the end, the file is on your hard drive, even if you had a 2400 baud modem. The only difference is you'd have to wait 11 minutes to get the cool image.
Right.
The coolness did not decrease by the time it took to download the image.
Okay, again, we'll keep that in mind. I believe it's covered if when we claim the digital image file, because I don't think the digital image file claims pertain to a network.
None of it should pertain to a network, really. It's an added benefit that we're able to transmit these rich pictures over a limited bandwidth network, but it is nothing even close to dependent or part of the coolness of the invention.
Can I take a counter position?
Sure.
The reason that you'd want, first of all, you have to describe the best mode of your invention. There's no question we have to leave
That's fine.
network in there.
Okay.
And the more stuff you leave in there, the better it is for us.
As long as we're not limited to it.
The claims are what defines what's limited. But again, if we are so broad brush in the claims are interpreted by the language in the spec.
Well, don't be broad here. If you want to be broad, it could be your hard drive or it could be over a network. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So
the only problem would be is if the digital file that we're claiming in some claim number 29 or whatever, if the wording of that claim says uploading, it says transferring data, and that would mean over an internet. And the spec, we come back and say that means over the internet or
your hard
drive.
drive. Yes, I agree. That's why I put in some places upload, download. I don't care what you call it.
Okay.
Don't limit us to download,
Now,
where I see in some places.
okay, that patent issues. 3 years down the road, you sue your closest competitor. They had a guy that just came out of the print industry, and they have been downloading images in print off of hard drives for photo processing applications for the past 20 years. He comes out with one article. Your claim directly reads on it because it's off the hard drive now, because you have interpreted that claim to mean off a network. Your claim's dead. Okay?
But that's not...
Now you run to claim 2, which is dependent on 1, which is going to say, oh, it's over, by the way, it's over a network.
But it doesn't have to be.
Claim 2 will have to say that, yeah, because otherwise your patent will fall, Elliot.
Why?
What?
Well, my question is...
Well, why will it fall?
Yeah, let's stick to the invention.
So what he's saying is, let me see if I can... Claim 1 is as broad as possible.
Okay.
Now, if something happens to lay on claim 1 in prior art,
Right.
you bypass that by going to claim 2, which reads on claim 1, which further defines claim 1, which takes you out of the conflict situation and into clean air.
Right. You've narrowed the scope of your part of this technology world, the part that's protected, but you want to make sure that part is over what your business is. Okay?
Well, my business, you see, my business doesn't need to involve a network. I could send somebody a CD of their hotel properties, like Hyatt,
Sure.
and say, here, you still have all the cool effects of my digital imaging product.
But claim 1 doesn't say anything about a network.
Okay, that's all I'm saying, Brian.
Claim 1 doesn't have it.
As long as you're not limiting me to a network.
Claim 1 doesn't. We did that deliberately.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to talk about that when we get to claims.
Okay.
We'll talk about that again when we get there. But again, my point is you got to be careful about what you say in the spec, because the way claims are interpreted is by referring to the spec. When you say providing a digital image file, that doesn't mean much in the claim. The guy's going to go read the spec, see how you did it, look at your figures, and that's how this language is going to be interpreted.
Okay, but
Now, if
you
you're
can
so
limit-
broad brush back